So
Yeah, do you guys
join.
want to start like right now, right away, or should we wait 3 minutes and just see if everybody shows up and joins the party? Give them a chance
Yeah, I
to
think
put.
I think we can wait 5 minutes or so
Yeah, cool.
if that's not a
Yeah,
problem for you too.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I just usually if something's scheduled, I don't like to start early just so that if
Yeah,
they
sure.
punish people for being not being 2 minutes early kind of thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
But we're gonna cover some cool stuff today. I think you guys are gonna really like it because we've sold a lot of stuff, and I was actually just thinking about it. We had I want to say like 12 or 13,000, something like that, in new sales in the last 24 hours. And I didn't talk to anybody at all. I was actually quite literally at the beach with my sister, and where we were at, I didn't even have service. So I don't even see those until I get back. And it's all kind of based on this offer formula that I'm going to show you guys now.
super great. And Frankie, I actually remember kind of vividly the interview that you had with Jeff like maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago. You talked about
Yeah.
the Loom outreach, and you
Yeah.
talked about retaining clients with some sort of birthday surprises and stuff when you send them gifts when they have their birthdays and like kind of building the relationship with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I learned a
that was
lot of that. There's a really awesome book if you guys get a chance to read it called Never Lose a Customer Again, by Joey Coleman. But it's like on retention about like playing offense instead of just like hoping you do good work and clients will stay. It's more like all the little touches you build into the process that just make them feel like you really appreciate them, you really want them around. And those things often have more to do with them staying than the actual ads you're running. And I've actually seen it. I remember once I got brought in as a consultant, just kind of as a funny story, but there was this guy who had paid his SEO company $10,000 a month for 10 straight years, and they were nowhere close to ranking and never had been. And I quickly did the math because you know, uh, went as an engineer. I'm like, that's 120 grand a year times 10 years. So he got paid $1.2 million for zero results. And I remember asking the guy, like, um, why didn't you fire him kind of thing? And he said something along the lines of, well, he's my golfing buddy. I can't fire my golfing buddy. I'm like, well, I'm sure I can find you a golfing buddy for cheaper than what you do. But it shows you how important those little touches are, that it was actually, the reason he had stayed in that service so long was because of that.
totally.
Anyways, you guys are cool that it's top of the hour. We can get rock and rolling. I mean, I don't have a long build up unless you guys want one.
Well, there's a big audience already, so yeah, we can start anytime.
Cool. I'm gonna share screen here and you guys let me know if you can see my stuff.
Yep.
So, this is kind of the thing that everybody knows me for, just so you guys know, is that all of our stuff is sold phoneless. Like a lot of people know me as the 5-minute Loom video guy. And we used to do what everybody else says you got to do, like have a whole calendar full of people. And I actually, our Facebook ads at different times ran so well that I'd have like 10 straight hours in a row of calls. And I don't do any of that anymore. This is just it. Like people get a video and they go, love this idea, let's do it, or I'm in, or what do we need to do to get started? And a lot of people like think the magic is the video and the format, and there certainly is some stuff to that. But the real magic is what we're going to show you guys today, which is the offer formula. And I wanted to, before I show it to you, just really quickly tell you why I think the offer formula is especially important for you guys, which is because I don't know what your experience has been, but my experience has been of Facebook ads and these kind of things is they are the opposite of set and forget, right? Like I constantly have to come up with new creatives, new offers, new angles, new hooks, new copies, and you can have ads that run for a while and like literally just fall off a cliff. I think the longest I've ever run an ad without touching it is almost a year. I never quite made it 1 year with any single ad where we never had to touch them. And so there's a need to constantly like come up with offers. And And I don't know about you guys, but I struggled a lot for a lot of years with just like even knowing what to say. Like the blank screen of death was real. Like, okay, we're gonna write an ad. Let's get ad writing. And then also like everybody told me you got to do like 1 billion split tests. So I was like split tests and everything. Like I think we probably ran like 10,000 split tests on Facebook over all these years. And this offer formula has made it so much simpler that I actually just test one thing at a time. That's it. Like my Facebook ads process is dramatically easier because we come up with a really good offer and then we test that one offer. And sometimes I'll have like 2 or 3 good ideas. And so we test 2 or 3 good ideas at once, but I'm like a one offer at a time test. And then also what I'll show you guys is once you kind of see this process, and we got a spreadsheet, and I'll make sure you guys get access to the spreadsheet. But I literally do this spreadsheet every single time I come up with an offer. I sometimes do it on real paper. I'll give you guys the digital version, and then you can do it like on a notepad like I do. But the other why is that it allows me at least to come up with really good hooks in like 10 or 15 minutes. And I can like come up with like, for lack of a better term, like really bitchin' ass creatives that don't take me forever to arrive to them. And I just wanted to say a couple of things. Yeah. So as I mentioned, for those of you guys who like weren't here early, like I think like I said, we're somewhere with like 12, 13K in new sales in the last 24 hours. Like as we're recording this right now, I've probably done like 30 million plus using this formula over the years. And the real benefit to me is because the offer does the heavy lifting. It's not me and my awesome sales skills, and I'm so persuasive, but it's really just making the offer so easy to say yes to that I was like literally playing Mario Kart with my daughter this morning when like new stuff was coming in this morning, right? So I wasn't like, grinding out calls and working on all kinds of fulfillment. So without further ado, I'll just show it to you guys. And this came out of something a mentor said to me. So there's the old calendar. You guys will notice most of my calendar is pretty empty, by the way. That's pretty much by design. I do like 2-3 calls a week. But it's really, really simple. Okay. Like this is the formula. It's if you are this type of person experiencing this symptom, we can get you this result using our new and exciting way out without timer. And timer is an acronym that stands for time, identity, money, energy, and reputation. And this, by the way, every objection you've ever had in your life, like when people don't give you money, it's in one of these 5 categories. And also, when you answer these preemptively, every reason they're going to give you money is because you've removed all these sort of normal, typical objections. So I'll show you guys, I'll walk you through a real example. We can put one of these together. But there's 4 main pieces to this, and then you can add some little pieces. What a lot of times people think these little pieces are the offer, like the built-in scarcity and the guarantee. I'll pay you $1,000. Those are like little pieces, but this is the main part of a transformational offer. And just to be clear, when I say like a transformational offer, what I mean by that is everybody here does transformational stuff. This is different than you, like if you're pricing a chocolate bar at the convenience store checkout, that's probably a lot simpler offer. Or if you're selling a little e-commerce plastic trinket, it's probably a different kind of offer. But if you're going to like run some ads for a business and potentially change their life, this is for those kind of offers. And so the whole left half side of this offer matrix, by the way, people have paid me 15 grand or more to learn this, just so you guys know, regularly, not just like one or two. This whole left-hand side of this offer formula does not come from you. And so I'm going to show you how I get this information, but it's really, really important that like, it's not about great copywriting that goes in here. It's great parroting. Parroting meaning like you're just giving clients their own words kind of fed back to them. And I'll show you, this will be more clear when we go to examples. Again, the result and outcome, you don't tell people what they want. What you bring to the table is you bring something new and different, and you remove some of the typical risk associated with buying it. So, and there's a reason, by the way, anybody want to guess on this, why we talk about symptoms and not problems? This is not rhetorical. You guys are welcome to like jump in and answer here. But like, why are we talking symptoms and not like deeper level kind of problems that they have?
When we talk about the problem, it's internal, it's abstract. When it's symptom, it's something that's in their environment that you can point to and say, hey, is this thing happening? And they can immediately recognize it.
Exactly. John is obviously a master copywriter, so that's kind of a cheat code, but the man knows it. Symptoms are immediate stuff you can identify in your environment. And often people don't even know what their deeper level problem is. So like, for example, I see all the time, like a business owner will be getting people call on the phone and they'll seem like a tire kicker. They'll call up and say, how much is it to get my carpet clean? And then they just hang up and don't buy anything. Well, to everybody in this room, that's really obvious that like what you're saying on your website and the process that got them to that phone call is a big reason why the phone call like kind of shows up unsold. Now, while that's obvious to you and me, that's not obvious to a carpet cleaner. All he knows is people call on the phone and ask him how much it is and hang up, right? That's all he knows. He doesn't understand that if I change my website and I change my copy and I change my offer and I get some Google reviews and I build in some proof, different people are going to call on the other side of that. Like I say, that's really obvious to you and me. And I say this because almost always, like, you guys are smart people and you're like 20 levels deeper than your clients. And you need to just talk about like little basic shit, how it shows up in the reality. So I'm going to give you guys a cheat code on this. I'll tell you the 5 most common things that I use as symptoms, and then I'll walk you through like how to get an example in your own client's words. But these are things that are pretty much unique across all industries. And I'm speaking specifically here to symptoms that clients with money have, because just because you can work with any dentist doesn't mean you should. There's like plenty of broke dentists and starving dentists and struggling and just got started and alcoholics, right? So these are like specific symptoms that are related to like the kind of people that can pay you whatever you want for your thing. So one of those is the stress of not having good marketing shows up the moment they go to make payroll. The second is they have no work for their team. And I'll show you guys some examples of these in a second. It'll make a lot more sense. Another one of these are the types of clients or customers or patients or whatever they call your people in your industry through the door. Like, for example, like if a roofer gets somebody to like plug a leak, he might make $50 for the cost of putting an employee in a truck and driving him out there and insurance and giving a quote. Like, it's not even worth it for him at that point. He may be totally frustrated with those things. Another thing that'll get a lot of people to buy from you are slow periods. And I'm going to say this how I would say it in my real language, is their current process is fucking miserable. So when I show you guys, that's the highly technical term, of course. And I say this, this is actually the most important part of the offer matrix. And if I could just like show people one thing, like your sales will click so much harder the moment you understand this, is they're not buying their way into your thing. They're buying their way out of what they're doing now that's not working. And I need to say that again because it's a writer downer. They're not buying your thing or into your thing. They're buying their way out of their current set of symptoms. And I'll tell you why this matters, because if I look at like 100 different people running ads, what are they talking about? Their thing. Our ad system is the greatest. You're going to get more leads and more clients and more customers down at Frankie Finn's, more Emporium. And that's not what they're buying. And so that's why it misses the mark. That is like a better future. The problem with future is a nice future is nice to have. A current problem is must fix now. Like if I'm struggling with payroll or a slow period. So this is one of those things you'll almost want to like write the ad about your thing, but do not skip go on this. And I'll show you guys how I get this. And I learned this from Jay Abraham. Some of you guys will know Jay Abraham. Super brilliant marketer. I use this magic tool called the Google. And here's an example of what I do. Just going to click on the hardest part of being a dentist. So I told you guys, this is all about parroting. It's getting it in clients in their own words. So I don't try to tell a dentist what his symptoms are. So I'm just going to open a couple of these. You don't always find it on the first one, but I just want to show you an example. What is being a dentist really like? What is the most difficult? So patients think we have zero overhead cost. Right? So if you can point to, as John kind of mentioned, those finger pointy overhead expenses that are showing up, they're buying their way out of that problem way more than they're trying to get more clients and more leads out of your ad, because ultimately what they're trying to do is meet overhead. Here's another one. This cracked me the fuck up. I'll read it to you guys because it's really small font. But he says, when you're doing some, I don't know, subgingival filling on number 18 on a hefty elderly patient on a blood thinner, he can't seat back all the way because of neck and back issues, has a fat tongue and a gag reflex. You recommend a crown, but the patient be like, I got no money and I'm about to die soon. Just fill it, doc. So you have no choice but to cry and pick up your handpiece. You barely touch it with your instruments only to unleash the floodgates of fresh blood that gushes out on your bonding. You try to keep the area nice and dry, but no amount of blah, blah, blah will save you from the bleeding. You think rubber dam will solve your problems, but no, the preparation is near bone level. You do some poor man's crown lengthening because patients can't afford anything expensive. It's only been 15 minutes. The patient asks you if you're almost done. He tells you his previous doc would have been done by now. You finish the filling. Your neck and back is achy. Your hair is disheveled and your morale is low. All this for a low reimbursement insurance, which pays you like $150 for the filling. Mr. Bossman takes 30% of your production, and so your take home is $45. As you drive home, you question your life choices and wonder if you'd be happier doing real estate or cocaine and investment banking. So this is like, get it in their own words, okay? So, but as much as this is hilarious, this is symptoms galore. And I'll tell you why I use tools like Reddit. I sometimes use another website called Quora, because it upvotes the answers that most of them agree with. And upvote is almost a way of people saying, that sounds like my symptom too. So here's an easy low-hanging fruit. Do you get those patients who say, I got no money, I'm about to die soon? Just fill it, doc. My old doc would have been finished. I'll tell you a lot of times why people don't realize you missed the mark, like on just little details. I know this because my mom actually worked in a dental practice for like 26 years. Dentists have constant neck and back pain from like leaning over people's mouths and working on teeth. Like, it makes sense when you think about it. It's probably not something you'd think about, but their necks and backs always hurt. So if you show up and you are selling the undefined more of what most people are saying, I'll get you more leads and I'll get you more sales. If you already have neck and back pain from doing too much of that shit and you barely make $45 after all your expenses, like, how appealing does more just by itself sound? Right? So we need to have a solution for, we're going to get you away from these crazy low paying, my last doc would have been finished for $45, and give you the kinds of patients that actually enable you to do less, to step away from the office, to make 30 grand in an hour and go home and feel like I actually get to keep something. So there's lots. Let's just put the patients who say, I got no money. Let's just grab that symptom. And obviously, like, I would use that in its entirety in the copy. I keep a lot of my thoughts in notepads, so you guys are seeing the madness in my brain here. I hadn't really cleaned up the computer before this. This is in its real state, just so you guys know. Folks saying I got no money, that's a perfect example. And so you can find all kinds of these, and I'll make sure you guys get access to these. But I would suggest, if you want to work with clients who have money, look for symptoms your people talk around payroll, having no work for their team. So I'll show you actually no work for the team. This is what a dentist would say, since we're kind of rolling with dentists here. And there's an equivalent of this in your industry, by the way. Let me just see if I can find it where I put it. So this is an actual ad we ran for another guy. This was like the messaging. The dentist said, I spent like $40,000 on this magazine, perfect looking website, but at the end of the day, the chair is empty. And what the dentist meant by that is they pay a dental hygienist something like $35-40 an hour, plus benefits and all those kind of things, so that instead of the dentist doing the work, the hygienist can be out there making them money. But what happens is, when there's nobody in the chair, instead of them making the dentist $100 an hour or whatever, that person turns into an expense really, really fast. And so we just made a little image like this, and ever made a $40,000 website, but the hygienist chair is empty. So there's it. I just show you guys, that's an example of I don't have work for my team. Those people that I pay to make me money are costing me money again. As we mentioned, the types of clients. So if they're getting like these low paying, in this case, get to keep $45 and the guy's bleeding all over the place and complaining, a lot of times like your ads will just click if you just simply talk about, we're going to get you different kinds of people. Slow periods is a big reason, right? Like some of you guys probably noticed this already. For those of you guys who do a lot of sales calls, sometimes they'll say, yeah, we were doing really good for 2 years, but it's suddenly slow. I don't know what happened. That's why I called you. Right? So you can put those right into your ads. And then when I say the current process is miserable, what I mean by that is they have some kind of plan for generating results in their business now, but there are a lot of usually undesirable effects of how they're doing it now. So like, for example, I've done a ton with lawyers. A lot of lawyers like get a lot of referrals, but the problem with referrals is they don't usually make referrals happen intentionally. So like 1 month they make 50 grand, the next month 107, and then they have a $3,000 month and they wonder if they're going to be able to pay their bills. And so one of the undesirable effects of doing it with referrals is like, I have a business I have no control over. Right? So there's almost always little things like these that come up with how they're doing it now. And if you're not sure, by the way, just ask them. Like I just join a Facebook group and go like, what are you doing to generate clients now? And then I might have a follow-up message and say like, do you like it? Do you not? Like, I'm thinking of doing the same thing. Can you share a little bit of your experience? Tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly. So everybody, I hope you guys are clear on like kind of what goes in that section. I hope that I made that crystal clear, like what goes in the symptom section. This is the part, by the way, you can make a totally different offer by changing it from I'll help you fix your payroll to I'll help you get work for your team to I'll get you different types of clients to I'll address a slow period to all those things that suck about the way you're doing it now. I can make 6 different offers without changing anything that you're delivering. So I don't think enough people understand that like an offer is not what you do in the same way that like a restaurant, they make food, but they may have like $16.99 all you can eat pork ribs one day and then 2-for-1 wings the next day, right? So we can always like find new variations of the same thing. And this is really useful, by the way, when Facebook ads fatigue. Now, the result and the outcome, by the way, this is actually the easiest part of the whole thing to figure out, because if you really know their symptom, you know what they want. So I think about an example, just like Lana comes to mind. Lana's the one who introduced Jeff Miller and I. She works a lot with yoga studios, and she works with the bigger ones that have 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40 locations kind of thing. And one of the things they said is things like, I have 3 locations on the west side that are half empty. Sorry, true story, guys. My little girl peed on my laptop and I cannot type the letter M. I have to copy and paste it. It does not work otherwise. It's the real story of parenting. I almost killed a 3-year-old that day. But if somebody says to you, I have 3 locations on the west side that are half empty, what do you think they want as a result? Like, it's pretty obvious. So this is why I say, if you know the symptom, like they want 3 full locations on the west side. So usually if you can nail the symptom and you just think about what would look like if you didn't have that symptom anymore, that's the result they're after. So for example, if somebody says, I got a slow period, like it's actually really, really simple. They just want a steady calendar of work, booked out 2 months solid for these guys, so they don't have to worry about what they're going to do. If they have people who are coming in the door and they barely make $45 and they drive them batshit crazy, and after insurance and all their overhead, they barely make anything, then they want people who pay top dollar and are going to be happy and are going to be the easiest to deal with. Now, you guys, the specifics of that will look different in every industry. What a dentist is after and what a roofer are after, all different, but like the similarities never change. So that's what goes in the left side, and that's all from the clients. And again, I'll make sure you guys get a copy of this. And The new and exciting part, maybe I should ask this as a question. I had a mentor who said to me, a lot of you guys know him, his name's Travis Sago. He said to me, as long as you sell to humans, new and exciting will outsell. I've heard that before. So my question is, how do you know what checks the I've heard that before kind of box for a potential client? Like, how would you, if you were trying to figure out like what it is they were doing now, how would you go about doing that? Anybody have some thoughts they want to share on that?
Like make a new offer, you mean?
Yeah, if you wanted to position your thing as different than the stuff that they're already doing, how would you go figure out like kind of what they're already doing? Like what would you want to know?
So usually when I do like my offers, I always make up some like new system I created. Even though it's the same thing, I just rename it, and to them it sounds something new versus like 30 patients in 30 days type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And as Lewis mentioned, one of the easiest ways to do this is give your shit a name. I have a friend in the legal space who does really, really well. They got a multi-7-figure, probably about 5 million a year agency. And he has what he calls the crocodile system. The crocodile system is this: you run some Google ads and you retarget those people on Facebook. But what happens is most lawyers go, I never heard of the crocodile system. What's the crocodile system? And it sort of disarms their skepticism. For kind of the advanced copywriting folks in here, that's Eugene Schwartz 101, new mechanism. But absolutely, as Lewis said, like give your shit a name. So I guess kind of what I probably wasn't asking the right way, but what's useful to know here is what are you doing now? And sometimes you got to play with this and massage this a little bit. Like this part requires a little bit of creativity. It's often, I'll give you guys a hint though, where your shit is different is usually in the little things, not in the big things. So a lot of times people go like, I do the same SEO as everyone else. We run Facebook ads too. And that's true, but it's the little details where you're different, right? Like I've seen a law firm do this with all the other lawyers make you jump on the phone. We text you. Like that's a little difference, but that's a big deal to like, I don't know about you guys, somebody like me who hates phone calls and has an aversion to meetings and feels like the vast majority of them like of this unnecessary time waste. Like if I can text you, like you immediately get my business just for that reason. So I say this like, because a lot of times when people hear this, oh, I got to make something different, they kind of interpret that to mean, oh, I got to be like Elon Musk. I got to launch rockets to Mars and come up with the newest, greatest AI software. And it's usually more about pulling the little differences out of the things you're already doing. We text you, oh, well, we got this ad format. Oh, or we like to run more split tests or whatever it is that you're doing different. Like I can't tell you guys that, but I can just kind of point you to your differences are in the little things. And it's useful to ask them, like, what are they doing now? So like for those of you guys who still do calls, like I do this through text, but you can do it any way you want, but I might just ask people. And again, even if you don't have any clients right now, you can do this in a Facebook community. Like if you're trying to reach roofers, join a roofer community and go, what are you guys doing now to generate business? And you'll have 45 answers in about 10 seconds. And like you don't have to think too hard to figure out what they're doing now. And then as you see that, you look at that, well, how is my stuff different? What's new and different about this compared to everything else that they're doing? So I hope that makes sense. Happy to answer like specific questions if you guys want to talk later about that. And the last piece of this is the timer risks. And all I really, really do is in really simple questions, I ask myself, how does this save this person some time? Like specifically, identity is probably the trickiest one. Because, but I'll make it really simple for you. The vast majority of people in your industry, do you think they want to be salespeople? Do you think they want to be marketers? Or do you think a plumber wants to like go clean a shitty toilet and a dentist wants to clean some teeth? So for the vast majority of them, the identity play in this is you give them more of being able to do their thing instead of having to be a marketer and a salesperson of their thing. Money is an interesting one because almost always this is the one the marketers talk about because it's important to us, but it's actually not nearly as important to clients as we think, especially clients who already got money. But money goes two directions. You can make people money and you can save them money. And actually with local businesses, especially for those of you guys who work with brick and mortar, the money is actually usually more appealing by what you can save them from what they don't have to do versus what they make. Because a lot of you guys have experienced this as well. As you scale an operation, often your expenses scale with it, and you don't actually feel like you're keeping anymore. You just got a big, more like difficult, stressful machine. And so if they can save money somewhere in there. So again, it's like they already have built-in costs. Instead of painting this as you're going to make money in the future, it's more like based on what you're doing now, this will save you money from having to go to those pointless referral meetings and stand around at BNI and trying to shake hands and buying every lawyer in town lunch and all those things. So I say that to you because I think a lot of marketers miss the money thing. Because what's important to us? Why did we start internet businesses? Because we all want to scale to the moon and sit around, you know, having 7-8 figure kind of paydays in our underwear kind of things. But that's not what most of the world wants. Most of them would rather save money than make it. So be careful with how you use this money one. Energies, believe it or not, this is usually the one I start with because the vast majority of busy, successful people already got too much shit to do. And so a lot of times when we position offers as I'm going to get you more leads and more sales and more of the future, as like most of the agency space stuff, a business owner who's been around for 10 minutes and has figured this out realizes if I get more clients, that's more work. So a lot of times it's actually taking what you're doing and positioning as what I'm going to take away from what you're doing now. So for example, if they're running around networking and shaking people's hands and buying them lunch and doing all those things to generate business, you're going to eliminate those things once your Facebook ads kicked into high gear because you don't really need to do any of those things. You don't need to chase down referral partners. We can just run some ads and bring them to you, right? So this is a very, very powerful frame that works really, really well on especially busy, successful people with money is talking about what you're going to take away from what they're doing now. And I do that by just coming up with like, how does this save them some energy? How does this enhance their reputation? So if we're doing this, say for a dentist, and he's got clients who got no money and our basic kind of fundamental promise, obviously we'd go a little more specific, is I'm going to bring you patients who got money and, you know, don't complain 15 minutes in that their last doc would do it faster, better, cheaper, and you can actually pay your overhead. The first time element thing is I already got the ads figured out. You just say go and I'll start plugging you into the kind of patients you want. Unless you really enjoy being a salesperson and marketer and don't just want to serve high value patients. And what we found is this saves you money because instead of all those expensive bookings and calendars where you barely cover your overhead, now you can actually afford to pay your staff something and keep something left over for you at the end. And we've made it super simple, easy using our ad system so you can get started today for XYZ and you get to be known as the doctor within 27 miles who does these high value procedures. Book a call. So I want to put this all together, kind of like showing you guys a real example because I think it'll make more sense. And just so you guys know, this sentence is more for you. I say this in terms of a Facebook ad conversationally. Right. So this isn't just like I write one big drone on sentence, but this framework forms the basis of the ad. So I'll put in a couple of sentences here and show this to you guys. So I'll show you how we would do this practically. So the first person we want to do is like, I usually start all my ads with calling them out. I'd say dentist or attention dentist. By the way, I don't actually serve dentists, so this is just an example. Attention dentist or attention dentist. Are you getting the low value, I got no money patients? And obviously we could probably really enhance this copy by taking some of the stuff from here. If I was really writing the ad, I would grab some of these things, but I'm just want to show you guys kind of an example right here. Are you getting the I got no money patients? Well, we can bring you, I might say, for example, like veneer and implant patients. using Lewis's new ABC Whiz Bang. Let's call it the ABC Whiz Bang. I think that gives it more credibility. Facebook ads system.
Sometimes I use the jargon, like whatever like the industry is known for, and if they have jargon, I use like that jargon to be in the term.
Yeah.
Just catchy.
Yeah, and I'm just showing you guys an example. Obviously, I'm not a dentist, but like as Lewis says, whatever industry you're using, you want to use their jargon specifically. So I might say, actually, if we wanted to get really specific, I might say, are you getting the $150 for the filling patients where your take home is $45? You got an achy and neck and back, and it barely, you know, covers your overhead, and you certainly can't pay a hygienist on those wages. Like, we might get real specific on that. And then I simply say, well, in here, the basic of it is the different timer ways I want to highlight. You don't necessarily have to use these all, by the way. I do sometimes, and not always. In fact, sometimes I don't even use any of them, but it helps, I think, to write your copy to figure out how your stuff's going to save people time. Because again, these are the reasons people say no. So if you preemptively answer the reasons they're going to say no, there's nothing left for them to say no. Like, if your solution saves them time, gets them to be more of who they want to be, they make and save some money, it's easier than doing it themselves, and they're going to look cool to other people. It like literally doesn't make sense for them to try and figure this out on their own when they could just pay you to make those problems go away. So using Lewis's new system, and I might say, in the case of a dentist, it helps dentists to get away from the $150 fillings that don't pay and get a fully booked hygienist 2 months out. Now, obviously, like, be honest and real, like, don't make exaggerated claims, but obviously I'm just winging it a little bit because we're using a dentist example and I'm not in the dental market. But that's basically it, guys. Like, that's the whole system. And I wonder if I can show you real quick just one more example of these live. I have way too many spreadsheets, but that's how I sell a lot of my shit, just so you guys know, in Google Docs. So this was one I did a couple years ago for an accountant, but I think it just shows you the power of this. And I had a conversation. You can use this for your clients as well, by the way. Not just to sell your own stuff, but you can help your clients sell their thing. So Larry came to me. He's an accountant in the Houston area. And he said, so tell me what you hate most. And he told me the worst part of being an accountant is tax time. He said tax returns. So that was like going back to our spreadsheet. That's types of clients. And I said, why do you hate tax time? He said, well, I barely make any money at tax time. Like 1 billion people come to me all at the same time. I literally work till 3 in the morning. I sleep under my desk. I don't go home for 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, like, I'm bored again and there's nothing to do. And he said, what I'd really love to get are businesses that have like ongoing bookkeeping needs, because then I'm not just like doing last minute tax stuff. I actually help them all year. It's super easy. So we got into like how big they were. And he said, I like the firms that are 2 to 10 people between 100,000 and 2 million. I asked him, like, what do you typically do for these people? And he said, I normally give them a plan. And usually in that plan, I can show them how to save 40, 50 grand. And then, you know, there's a couple of things that need to be implemented, and I usually know how to implement it easier than they do. And so it just makes sense to pay me to save you 50 grand at tax time or whatever. And I said, how do you do that? And he said, I didn't put this all kind of neatly organized in the spreadsheet, but I just want to give you guys the example. But he said, I have something called retirement strategies, organizational structure, fringe planning. I can recalculate old tax returns and, you know, submit an appeal. We can put stuff in family member's name. And he said, the downside of it is I can't make you implement the plan. I can just give it to you, but I can help you get the results. And I make it super easy for businesses because I accept monthly payments, and usually I'm basically free to them. So this is the ad we ran for him that like killed it for a long time. But dear Houston area business owner of the 2 to 10 person firm doing between 100,000 and 2 million annually. How would you like to keep 40 to 50 grand of your extra hard-earned money, cash that you would normally give away to Uncle Sam, by using completely legal, little-known retirement strategies, organizational structures, and fringe planning? And what if I gave you that plan 100% for free? Most accountants just show you recorded history. This plan is a proactive money-saving thing that you don't have to give to the IRS. If you'd like your free plan, register here at the link below. That's like his book a call. P.S. The catch is you just may want my help to implement it, in which case I'll show you how you can get the plan at no extra cost to you. Right? So it's pretty easy to like make that ad convert. Like most accountant ads, by the way, are Larry's Accountant. We do accounting, bookkeeping, and more accounting. Call now. Established 1922, if they're even that fucking good. Right? And this is like how we take the most boring niche in the world, accounting, and make a super sexy offer in it. So I just want to show you guys so you can see like kind of examples of how we do this. But that's basically it. That's all I got for you guys. And then the only other piece I would say is I then kind of position my stuff through a checklist. And these are sort of the complementary pieces to an offer. It helps if your offer is an add-on versus a replacement. And a replacement is really simple terms. If they have to fire somebody to hire you, you really have two sales to make. Fire that person and hire me because I'm better. If you make your stuff what I call an add-on or a bolt-on, they only really have one decision. Do I want this new thing? So it's kind of like try and make your stuff complementary in the same way like restaurants make dessert complementary. They don't say, a replacement is if they come to your table and say, well, don't eat the chicken. I can make you a better steak than that. Like, let me take your chicken away. And you're like, I already got my meal, right? So that's usually a checklist I pass my things through. If you can make your stuff an add-on, you're going to sell a lot more of it. Depending on where I'm at in the sales process, I have a simple process. If I have lots of case studies and proof, then you got to buy it and you got to commit to it and you got to stay with it. If I don't, then I make my stuff more like a first date of like, hey, let's just work together for a short period of time. Like a lot of you guys I know are doing trials and things like that. Or let's do it for 30 days. The longest trials I do are typically like 90 days. So like, hey, let's try this for 90 days and I'll get you a blah, blah, blah. Specific enough, by the way, like 9 times out of 10, when people's offers don't work, this is why they're just not specific enough on the symptoms and the outcomes. They say, do you want more, dear business owner, do you want more leads? Right? It's way better to say, are you getting $150 fillings that complain and you still got overhead and a hygienist to pay, than it is to say, dear business owner, do you want more of something? I don't even really know what that more is. And then if you want to, you can introduce some sort of scarcity and deadline. And when I say scarcity, I mean ethical scarcity. Like, hey, we're taking 3 people this month or this week or whatever, the real number is for you. This specific offer we're taking away on Friday. And what I like to usually do that ethically is I include some kind of bonus and then take away the bonus if you don't act by a certain period of time. Then I can do it ethically because I'm still going to let you buy my Facebook ads tomorrow if you want to, but you just don't get the bonus. But these are the things people typically think are the offer. And these are just like the little extra pieces that will take it to the next level. It's really the transformation and how simple you've made that transformation for people. That if you're this type of person experiencing this symptom, we can get you this result using our new and exciting way out without all the things that you don't want to do. So that's it for that, guys. You got any questions on this or how you might specifically apply it to yours? I hope you guys like see the power in this.
Hey, Frankie, just want to say thank you. This has been a great refresher because I did you mentioned Travis earlier, I did some of his programs a couple of years ago. And, you forget things and then you get reminded of them. And yeah, especially the timer. It's such a great way to preempt the objections and actually sort them out before you've even written your copy. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And, for me, John, just being real with you, a lot of people have told me like, they love Travis. He's super abstract and they had a hard time like taking it through to the finish line, which I get. And so for me, I had to take his abstraction and like put it down into a spreadsheet where I'm like, okay, every time I make an offer, I do one of these. So this is like literally the other cool thing I meant to mention with this is you guys can test these on social posts, like in communities, before you actually run it as an ad. Because what I find is if nobody will raise their hand and say, like, tell me more from this little summary version of it, like 100 times out of 100, they're not going to buy it later. And if you get a bunch of curiosity, it doesn't always translate to sales 100 times out of 100, but it's like 95 out of 100 that if they say, me, tell me more about that, they'll probably buy it too. So that's the magic of this too, is that you can actually be like super lean. And like, for me, I can test an offer in like 10 to 15 minutes. Cause I consider it to be my worst failure in business, but I was like, I want to say like 2008, 2009. I had a friend of mine who started becoming a mortgage broker. He still is to this day. But he said to me something like, he's telling me about how he generated business. And he said something like, it kind of sucks though, because I'm buying these leads and they're like $30, $40 a piece. And they sell the same lead to a mortgage broker. Like they sell them to 20, 30 other brokers. And I quickly did math because I went to school as an engineer. Math's been my game. And I was like, wait, you guys are selling that lead for like $800-900 a lead? Just like a form fill? And I was like, immediately decided I was in the mortgage business. Now, back in those days, all I knew was how to rank websites. I didn't know anything about sales. I didn't know anything about copy. I didn't know anything about offers. And so I spent 14, 15 months ranking. I built what was like a mortgage search engine. I thought, as soon as this baby ranks and gets in front of all that Google traffic, people are just going to start filling out mortgage applications. I'll be a trillionaire selling all my leads to these mortgage brokers. I spent about 16 months ranking it. And I like literally built backlinks every single day of my life for 16. Like I didn't even take Sundays off. Like it was my baby. I was like, I was going to retire on this mortgage website. And then what ended up happening is I got to the 16-month mark. We started getting traffic and nobody wanted the offer. It was like, I didn't really think about it, but nobody wakes up in a cold sweat going like, where am I going to find a mortgage broker? Like they're literally everywhere. And we were in the middle of like the financial crisis. So they weren't even like really giving out mortgages at that time. And it was just like, the whole thing was a shit show. And why I consider it such a failure is not that it didn't work. Cause everybody here, like if you guys are any bit successful, you got way more failures than you have successes. Just, Facebook ads alone. But the worst part of it for me was the 16 months I'll never get back of like building it when I could have just tested that ad and offer in 5 minutes and known nobody would have wanted it and saved myself all the energy and effort. So that's the other thing here is like when I don't bat 1,000 using this offer formula, but when I'm wrong, I learn about it really, really fast. And therefore I don't have to create things that nobody's going to buy. I don't have to make sales pages and offers and videos because if nobody responds to the 3-4 sentence version of it, they ain't going to buy it with more videos and more testimonials and more proof and all that. The contrary of that is if you throw it out there kind of its incomplete form and all of a sudden like 40 people in the first hour say, I'm interested in that. Then you build it, you make it, and it usually tends to work. So that's the other thing, but I like to fail really fast with these. And this gives you the ability. And for those of you guys who are running test ads, I usually just I take $50 behind one of these things. And if there's no response in $50, you don't need to keep going. Yeah, I'll share a blank template with you, Matt.
Oh, good.
You guys can, when you guys get that.
Good, man. Yeah, fun. Looks cool.
The real magic for me is this with this, guys, like why I came up with this. There's no more predictable number in your agency for how much money you make than how many offers you made. Like I've recently started helping like really big YouTube channels, and a lot of them, like you'd be amazed that channels with like millions of fans and followers like sometimes make zero. Like I don't like not even a penny. Some of them don't even have their ad revenue turned on. But when you look at the fact that they make zero offers, it becomes crystal clear why they don't make any money, right? They never tell anybody they can buy anything from them. They have no products for sale. There's no application to work with them. They just hope somebody will volunteer and kind of, show up with a sponsorship or something. On the flip side of that, I see people who brazenly make offer after offer and tend to work really well. And the magic of this, for me personally, is that once you have an offer formula that works, it can be put into video, it can be put into Google Documents, it can be put into things that are digital. And Digital Me is a beast. That dude makes like 24/7 offers and never takes days off, right? Like 365 days. Even at Christmas at 3 in the morning, somebody's getting pitched a digital offer. And so I think it like almost directly correlates to your income, was that when you can really quickly make and test an offer, like kind of using this formula, which is me kind of trying to encourage you guys to play with it and try it, is you just make more money because it becomes easier to make offers and it becomes easier to test things without having to build them. And also it becomes easier to refresh ads and things when they stop working. Like when inevitably you have an ad that works for 5 weeks and then all of a sudden like the numbers go to shit and you don't really know why. They're super easy to refresh. And the other piece I actually wanted to mention is for the images, I almost always either use the symptom or the result. And I meant to show you guys this one. So like, this is not mine. This is a friend of mine, Mark's, but he came to me and was like, I'm having a really hard time, like knowing what to put in a Facebook image for these kitchen remodelers. And I'm like, I don't know what I would show them that's really exciting. I said, like, what do you get them as an outcome? And he's, oh, I generate, kitchen remodeling leads. I'm like, no, like, what does that look like? So he pulled up this email. I screenshot it. I obviously like blurred out the kind of sensitive details. But I was like, I get him these. And he's like, yeah, I can't really show that's not interesting. And I'd say to like 99% of the world, this is probably not a very interesting social media image. But if you're a kitchen remodeler and this like represents a $40,000 job to you, like I might as well have just showed you a treasure map. So most of you guys have something like this already. I meant to mention that as the images, I'm almost always showing that. The flip side of that is a symptom. This is a symptom, an empty dentist chair. Look familiar? Empty dentist chair. And the other thing you can do is what weight loss has done for 1,000 years, and just show them together. You can show before and after. So in this case, like as a symptom, I might show like cruise a guy standing around in half the image, and then an arrow pointing to, we can get you people like this to call you. And they're not usually the most exciting in terms of like clicks and stuff, but they usually, like for me at least, like clockwork, usually are my best converting ads. And I tell you this as not saying I have all of ads figured out, but I've tested like thousands of things, like for years with attorneys, especially. Like I tested random shit, cats holding a briefcase, and like, does that work? And if the image is upside down, if it has blue flashing lights and green is a bigger contrast. And ultimately what I figured out is, instead of like trying so hard to grab their attention with the madness of social media, just show them something they want, or show them how to get away from something they don't want. So I meant to just add that piece because I didn't want you guys to lose that. Anything else you guys got? I'll make sure you guys get these templates. I don't know. I'll put them in school or wherever. Make sure you guys get a blank one in the one we use. Invoices. Yeah.
Just want to say, I just ordered your book.
So we got Meta here saying like an example for realtors. If I was doing this with realtors, and realtors is an interesting market because I shouldn't say most, but like a higher percentage than other industries of like real estate agents are broke and won't be real estate agents in like 2 to 3 years because like it's just a low barrier to entry. I think it's like a couple grand in a weekend course and you can call yourself a real estate agent. So I would be like super stickler on making sure you're using symptoms of talking to the people, the real estate agents who do have money and do have teams, and they're usually probably a broker of record with people under them. And I probably this is like personal, I probably would not aim any of my shit at the 90 to 95% who will have a hard time paying you because they just don't know how to sell and blah, blah, blah. So almost always like the thing that like is going to get them is in these 5 things. But if I was going to test one first, I would probably talk to a broker of record of what happens when, he doesn't have listings and things like that for his team. Right? Because if his team doesn't succeed, he or she doesn't succeed either. Obviously we could go deeper on that. I don't necessarily know what those are, but like, again, what's the hardest part of being a broker of record? So usually, again, it's some combination of payroll, no work for their team, types of clients. I should say payroll / overhead. Those kind of go together. Slow periods. And then When you're focusing on outcomes, it's really the opposite. So if we're talking about like their team doesn't have any work, then what does their team want? Like, you know, a steady 2 listings a person every month or whatever it is they're after. And then this part is when it comes to your system, maybe you could tell me a little bit about your system and I could tell you, like, we can pull out some of the details of how you might be different. Like, what are you doing for them? You can type it if you don't want to go on camera. I don't see any chat.
Yeah, no, I'm just starting to dive into the realtor niche, but I'm looking to get them more home buyers. Like, for example, I started working with a realtor in Toronto, but I want to get more realtors if possible. And I've been hearing that a lot of them are broke, like you just mentioned. So I was just looking to see if I can get them more home buyers or, you know, more listings.
Yeah. So I should say, like, a lot of times when people hear a lot of realtors are broke, they think, oh, that's a bad niche. I don't believe there really are that many bad niches. There's like usually the only ones that are really bad have like some kind of legal government handcuff, or you can just buy it easily online. Like, I wouldn't do insurance because they can just go buy it from Geico. So a lot of times people interpret that to mean realtors are a bad market. You just have to be a stickler of not aiming your symptoms at broke, struggling realtors and talk to busy, successful realtors who have money and have challenges. And the more you go specific on that, like, because almost always the problem is people are not specific, is like, for example, you mentioned buyers. I would go even deeper than that because they probably just don't want buyers anywhere. Like, if you could get them waterfront buyers or commercial listing buyers, or maybe they want land buyers, or maybe they want investor buyers, like that alone is going to change it. So like usually those specific details, you don't have to guess at those. Good question to ask the realtor you have in Toronto to like kind of figure these things out is like, which kind of listings do you wish you had more of, and which kind of listings do you wish you had less of? And then whatever answer they give you is usually going to be some kind of general answer. And then you just go more specific. They'll say, I want buyers listings. And you say, can you give me a little more info? Like what size, what price, what area, blah, blah, blah. And then those specifics will tell you what they're really after. Because I'll tell you, like, would you rather sell one $10 million mansion or 8 $50,000 shacks in the ghetto? So on the surface, 8 listings sounds automatically better than 1, but it may not be. And again, like, don't try and guess at those. Don't tell them what they want, but usually they'll give you the what's important to them. I really want these kind of listings because, and it's those specifics that really get them in. But as I mentioned, then the second piece I would ask them is like, what have you been doing till now to get these listings? And they'll tell you all the things they have to do to hustle and chase and blah, 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 and all the undesirable things they're doing now. And then your offer becomes simpler. It's like hey, all that miserable stuff you're doing now that creates, you know, no work for your team and slow periods, and you get these wrong types of people. You know, we can help you to get these waterfront listings, blah, 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 using my new system. And it'll save you time, allow you to just sell more houses, cut your costs here, and there. And it's so much easier, and you're going to look cool to everyone else. And obviously the devil's in the specifics of those things, but I'm just kind of sharing that kind of like the process of how I would create that.
Yeah, that's really good. I have another question. I know that you mentioned that like you mainly deal with the higher ticket businesses, or you know, like guys in the agency space like Jeff and Lewis speak about like staying away from like those single operator businesses. Yeah, I've been experiencing that as well, as far as them not having enough bandwidth to handle more clients or have enough budget to run ads and stuff like that. Do you see a way to make it work with those guys in any type of way? You got an experience there?
I have 2 rules on the types of clients that I work with. And I think these are universal across different industries because I've helped a lot of people. This is just like my opinion. So like take it as one guy's opinion, but I've been doing this 20 years and it's served me pretty well. So the basic idea is I trust behavior, not words. And so what I mean by that is if you ask 100 people in business if they want to grow and like level up and make more money, you know who says they want to do it? Like all 100.
All of them, yeah.
You know how many of them actually do it out of 100?
Maybe 20%, if that, 10%.
Yeah, like 10, 20, if I had to guess. And so I look for behavior that suggests they're actually like doing the things. And so thing number one is, as you mentioned, is I look for that they're actually, we got to copy and paste the letter M. Zelda be peeing out my keyboard. Sorry, guys. Broke my flow there because I can't type that damn letter M. Is they're spending money now. For years, I like really struggled with this, not understanding this. I would have lawyers of all kind of different denominations. And on one example, sometimes I remember I got a lawyer in Texas and he's like, it's been slow and I know I need to do this internet stuff. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to invest. It's time to level up. And we spent $200 of Facebook ads. You got to understand, in the legal niche, it's probably the most expensive local industry on the face of the earth. I'm pretty sure it is. And his account froze after $200. And I didn't really understand it. It was like some weird setting, and I checked and eventually realized like he had put a spending limit on the account and like at $200. So I called him. I was like, dude, like what up with that? And he was like, well, basically, like, you guys know the clients. Like, I'm not a millionaire yet. Like, how long is this going to take to work? I already spent $200. Like, where's my return on investment? Like grilled me to the coals over like $200 in ads. It's like barely even got started. The flip side of that, I remember at the exact same time I was running ads for another lawyer in Texas, probably like 150 miles up the road from him. And he was a big TV lawyer in Corpus Christi. And he has a whole team of people. They're trained how to do selling. They have scripts. They follow up as many as 6 times. They have a rule that you have to respond to incoming messages within 3 minutes. And we generated just a couple of leads for him. They weren't even like really good numbers. And I remember asking him how it was going. And he was like, oh, we're crushing it. Everything's working. It's awesome. So rule number 1 is I always make sure that they're spending money now. I don't want, because otherwise you have 2 sales to make, is you should spend money on advertising and growing your business. And then the second sale is with me. And it's actually the first one that's the hard sale. That's the one they fight you on. So I just have a simple rule. If I Google your name and click on your shit and I can't discern that you're spending money somewhere, someplace, like if I can't see an ad running or a website you paid for or some social media that somebody is managing, I don't run ads for you, because then I'm going to have to convince you that you should spend money and you're going to fight me on a tooth and nail. So I say that that's rule number 1, is they're spending money now. And number 2, to your point on the solos, is they have teams. Because team to me represents a behavior that it means it makes more sense at this stage of my business to pay people to solve problems than it does to try and do it myself. As a solo, and many of you guys are in here are solo, so I totally get it, is when you're a solo, a lot of times, like if you don't pinch the pennies and do it yourself, there's nothing to keep at the end of the month. But at a certain stage in business, it just doesn't make sense to do that anymore, because the time and energy is your limiting factor. And so you pay teams. And so I really only work with people who spend money and have teams. And so you're talking to clients with money. And this is universally true across any industry, not limited to real estate agents. But as far as the offer matrix we were talking about, I just speak to the symptoms of people who spend money and have teams. Right? Like if I say you got crews of guys standing around because you don't have enough work for them to keep them on the road, and most of the work you're getting is the $45 cheap little insurance, got to wait to get paid bullshit. Like a single solo doesn't even respond to that because it doesn't even make sense to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The reason why I ask is because I get a lot of messages from, well, not a lot, but just lately been getting the messages from these solopreneurs that is interested in running ads with me, but I know they don't really have the bandwidth to do what they want to do.
Yeah. And what you'll find is almost like, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but like 95 plus, is there's just a lot of missing pieces in those businesses. Like they don't have a working offer. They don't have a working sale. They don't know how to follow up with people. They don't know how to call. They don't know what to say when they get them. And so you have to figure all that out for them. You have to figure out their ad and their sales process. And like, I know there's tools that do it. Like you can go high level, patch it, and have missed call, text back, and things like that. But to me, like at some point, you're just building a business for them for less than, like if I had to figure out a roofing offer and a roofing sales system and a roofing consultation and the forums and teach you how to call back, like at that point, I might as well just build a roofing business. It makes way more sense to me to do it for somebody who's already spending money and has challenges and have a team. And this is the thing I wish I knew earlier. A lot of times we think that the person who is solo and struggling has more need need for our service, and it's actually the other way around. Like when I would deal with a lot of the big successful TV lawyers, just when it comes to TV, if I'm a lawyer spending 100 grand or more a month on TV, just TV, one media, I have to figure out creatives, right? Like I have to make commercials, and usually not one or two of them. Like I make 20, 30. So I got to hire people. I got a set. I got filming. I got crews. Then I have to like buy the media. I have to negotiate with ABC. I have to negotiate with NBC. I have to see, you know, if they can give me a discount on this. And right. So then there's like all the media buying. Then there's like I got to figure out the tracking. I got to have a phone number and a jingle. And like there's so many moving pieces just for one media. And then you multiply that by they're doing everything. They're doing TikTok, they're doing Instagram, they're doing Facebook, they pay for radio ads and so forth. They have 100 times the problems, and they're 100 times more likely to pay for it. For most of you guys, by the way, and it's probably significantly less than this, but to hit $1 million run rate, like we're talking 100 people or less, and usually more like 40 to 50. And sometimes even less than that, depending, like, you know, we got guys charging 10K a month. So like, you know, that's 8. You got to get 8 people. So to me, like, I think it just makes more sense you're not a Starbucks mass market to try and be for everybody. Just get 8 clients who can pay you kind of 10 grand a month and talk to their symptoms and make them an irresistible offer. To me is a better model than like, let's try and get every realtor just because we can. Because what you'll find is like, so many of those guys, like, they make it hard on themselves. Like, to give you a contrast in the difference between the client types, I remember we did some revenue share stuff with roofers. I want to say like 2012, I was kind of like experimenting with that. And I remember one of the roofers we got was a guy named Eddie, and I shit you not, but this actually fucking really happened, and we have all the tracking in Twilio. So we're running an ad that says like, you know, 5-star roofing, like it looks like a premium roofing thing. Call now and we'll come look at your roof. And this is the phone call that ensues. Hello? Hello? And it was Eddie's wife who had answered the phone, and she was one of those types that sounded like she just ate a carton of cigarettes right before the call. And then this is the part where the phone call got really fun. She goes, "Yeah, you need a roof, 1 second. Eddie, come answer the fucking phone." And then Eddie, you can hear them argue for like 7 minutes. Why are you always bitching at me? You crazy bitch, man. You fucking crazy. And like the call goes on like that for like 7-8 minutes. The guy waits on the call the whole time. Then Eddie picks up the phone. He's like, "Yeah, this is Eddie. Oh, you need a roof? Yeah. I come on down there and give you a quote." Now, you guys would be shocked to learn that Eddie didn't close that call. The flip side of that is Dan kept going with the revenue share with roofers. He ended up getting a guy who had 30 or 40 locations. They had like, I don't know, almost 100 trucks on the road, and had crews of guys. They all had collared shirts and professional trucks and insurance license bonded, had a CRM tracking sales team, proven approval and quoting process and things like that. He generated a commercial roofing lead for that guy. It was like 400 grand. The guy issued him a check same day. But I remember the meeting when he told me the meeting he had with that guy is the guy sat down with him, pulled up in a McLaren F1. For those of you guys who don't know, it was once the fastest production car in the world. It's like $1 million car. Reaches in his Gucci bag that he plops on the table, pulls out 10 grand, slaps it on the table in front of Dan, and says, "All right, I came to spend money. What's it going to cost me to get you?" And technically, those two people are roofers. Everybody will tell you those are roofers, and like you should just get a roofer. But I promise you, the McLaren guy is like a way better client than Eddie. And sometimes like the roofers, like they drove me batshit crazy because I can remember things like they would say, "Oh shit, I know I should have quoted that job, Frankie, but you know, me and the boys got real drunk last night, and you know, I'm kind of hungover this morning, but I'm going to head over there around 5 o'clock and I'll let you know how that lead goes." And like, you know, they get drunk and hungover and call their lead back a day and a half later and are shocked that it doesn't convert. Because I say that because a lot of times if you get the solos and those kind of people, and it doesn't matter what industry, you have to build their business for them, which is just not worth it. You want the people that are just like, they already have the teams and the sales process and the CRM and professional collared shirts, and they drive out there and they're trained and they got a billion fucking reviews. So in case anybody ever Googles them, like it's just way easier to help those people, and they have more problems because they got more shit to manage and more shit that can go wrong and just like more shit to think about. So I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just telling you what's worked for us, but I would never violate these two rules, knowing what I know now. Like if you're not spending money and and you don't have a team in place, like I just don't even talk to you. And I don't write ads to you, and I don't create symptoms for you. And I don't consider it a win if you get any of those people on the phone. Like sometimes you can still learn cool things for them, but like I don't aim any of my marketing at the solos who got no money and got no teams, because behaviorally they tend not to spend money and they tend not to pay people to solve problems. So it's a little bit of a rant, but you know, that's why I kind of like prefaced it with like, these are the symptoms I aim for, is like, they got to have some kind of payroll in place. They got to have a team. They got to, you know, have a gradient for types of clients. They got to have ebb and flow to their business, and they have a process that's working, right? Like they have some kind of sales and offer that's working. It's more just like it's undesirable for any number of reasons, because how hard it is or how unleveraged it is or things like that.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the last question, I don't know if anybody else has any question, but since you brought it up about you know, just targeting the realtors with teams that's spending money, how do you get around the conversation, or do you not just think about that conversation if you're just started and you don't have that much of a track record within that industry to charge those higher budgets, like to get to where you're at and beyond?
Super simple. Like I use a dating analogy. It's down here in the first date or marriage. So if, for example, I have like 20 case studies and I'm the real deal and I have like mountains of proof, then like you got to sign up for a contract and you got to like commit to it and buy it. And if you're not ready to do that, that's totally cool. But like that's how I handle the marriage side of it. It's easy once you sort of have that traction. In the beginning, I just reduce the size of the commitment. It'd be the equivalent of saying like, hey, you seem cool, let's go on a date. Not like, if I say to you right away, like I want to have 2.2 kids with you, move to the suburbs, we're going to meet my mom and dad, we're going to live together here, we're going to go twice a year on vacation there, we're going to have 3 kids, they're going to grow up here, their names are going to be, you know, so and so, like that's already too much of a commitment. And a lot of offers are like, my old SEO offer used to be like that. My first agency was all SEO for like 7 years. And it was basically like, work with me for 12 months. I'm usually pretty good at ranking the stuff in Google, but no guarantees because Google's fucking crazy. And I hope it works. And it's expensive and sign up for a long time. And you would not be surprised to learn that that was hard to sell, right? because no proof, no guarantee it's going to work. A lot of shit that can go wrong. It's really, really expensive. Like that's a hard to say yes to offer. As where the flip side of that would be like, one of the things that we learned that was an in is a lot of surgeons, they wanted to sell like, you know, because I mentioned types of clients, they would want to sell their more expensive procedures. And so I'd say, hey, let me build you a mini site, like a little 5-page mini site to sell your most expensive thing. And then they would go for that. And then as soon as the first date went well, I'd say, you know, I can rank this site for you too. And we can make sure you get a bunch of calls, and I would sell them SEO as a step 2. So if I don't have case studies and proof and testimonials, I just make the size of the commitment smaller. And so we had an offer we ran for like, you know, like 3 years, really, really well in the personal injury space. That was like, I'll get you motorcycle cases. So like, like all industries have a spectrum for their types of clients. And for injury lawyers, they like really big accidents because like people get more injured. There's more money. There's more to dispute. And so we had a little Facebook ad system where we would run and get them like motorcycle cases. And I just sold that as a first date. We had variations of the same offer, but I sold it as like a try it for 90 days. I had just pay X per lead and we'll nurture them for you. I think it was like $40 a lead because we knew we could buy the leads $10 all day long, usually less on Facebook ads. And so like if they're paying $40, it just worked. But small commitment, like, hey, just try 10 leads, try it for 90 days. Right? If I don't have all that. So it just depends on where you're at in the process. If I have lots of proof and case studies and all that, like I make you sign up now and I make you commit to it. If I don't have that, then I just go first date and try it for a while. And if you like it, you can kind of keep going. So it's like, it's very much the dating equivalent of just like, hey, we just met, you seem cool, let's go have a coffee. I know there's a really cool place down by the water. I think you'll really like it. And if for some reason it doesn't work out, you can just leave the date and we'll part as friends and everything's cool. But if you do, I'm probably going to try and talk you into a second date.
Got it. So we just go straight Tinder agency.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff, man. I appreciate it, Frankie.
Scott says, with realtors, try not to work with people who've only ever worked on referrals. They're bad at converting leads. And yeah, and usually if they're only converted on working on referrals, that means they've never spent money. They're not spending money now. So now you have to convince them to spend money. Like I got an example of like how easy this can be. We've got a guy who he runs YouTube ads, and he does this for online coaches. He takes coaches who are already making 100 grand a month on Facebook. And so if they're already making 100 grand, that means their ads are working, their offer is working, their sales process is working, their onboarding is figured out, to some level, at least their delivery is figured out. And he just takes their funnel and clones it on YouTube. And now it's suddenly a whole new thing. But the magic of that is he's taking like what's already working and building off of it, rather than trying to, as Scott pointed out, if they've only ever made it work with like referrals, chances are they don't spend money on ads because their shit don't work, right? Like at least offer wise, like doesn't convert. Like they haven't figured that system out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like we all go through periods of business figuring it out. Like just don't work with those people as clients, like help them out on a friendly nature. But like this is show business, not show charity. I just say that you guys will generally find it a lot easier to solve problems for people who already have money, and not trying to convince. I say this really lovingly, but I feel like a lot of people try and turn losers into winners instead of just helping winners win more. Because like using the roofing example, like nobody here is going to make Eddie successful. I hate to break it to you guys, but you're not going to save Eddie's business. Like your Facebook ad is not going to like, and Eddie's probably a cool guy otherwise, but like in the game of business, like Eddie's just a drunken roofer who's trying to get through to Friday, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, you don't want that person as your partner and depend on your paycheck for Eddie to hold up his end of the bargain. As where the McLaren guy was already successful before you showed up. But the flip side of success is like more money, more problems. Like I can tell you guys right now, like I got a big old castle. I live here in Mexico. Like I literally have one more floor than any other house in any direction that I can see anyway. Like, so I got like a bigger house. And one of the problems is under my pool house, like I have rats that come over and try and eat the food that I have chickens here. And I would pay money if somebody could just show up and be like, I'll get rid of that rat problem for you and you don't have to do fucking anything. I unfortunately don't know that person right now, but I just say that to illustrate like for client types, more money, more problems. Like they have more employees to worry about, more teams, more payroll, more media to manage, more things to think about, more shit to track, more clients, more incoming questions. And so when you show up for these people, you're actually the most helpful. And so you just focus on like the winners winning more. And that's why I kind of like put these symptoms here, just because these are the symptoms of people who are at least like reached the beginning winning stages of business. But I only mention that to you because I think it's even more important in like niches like real estate agents and mortgage brokers and things like that, because if you get it wrong, you'll just feel like everybody in your market's crazy and you'll question your sanity and think it'll be better in a different niche. And then you'll hop to a new niche and talk to the solo brokies in that niche, and they'll seem just as crazy, but for different reasons. And then you'll hop to a new niche and talk to the solo brokies in that niche. And I just noticed that when we ran this stuff for like busy, successful types that like had money, they never bothered us. Like they were like, and a lot of my clients, even now that have been with me like 10 years, like they're too busy doing their shit to even get a meeting with them. Like I might send them like 5 minutes of voice notes a year, and that's like our entire conversation, right? And like I'm talking people who are paying me 100 grand a year, and we talk 5 minutes a year. And it's not because like I don't think they're cool and want to talk, and they're just busy. They got shit going on. They got lots of stuff to juggle. They got families and lives and soccer and overhead and payroll and insurance and investments and on and on and on. Right. And so the other cool side effect is these people tend to value it more as you actually like make it easier and give them less. But yeah, as a little side rant, like I can't tell you the number of people self included, by the way, who made myself miserable for 10 years by not realizing that every niche has a spectrum of people, and most people aim for the bottom 80% of it. The struggling, and I'll tell you, the analogy I've used for years is I call it the shoe buyers. A lot of people give me credit for it. It's a Dan Kennedy idea, but the idea is that if you sell shoes, your first instinct will be to sell to somebody who's barefoot because they need shoes. But what you actually want to do is sell to someone who has 200 pairs of shoes in the closet. And so if you sell marketing services, your first instinct will be to sell to the person who has no marketing and like it could totally revolutionize their business. And they'll just continue to tell you, I don't wear shoes. Why do I need shoes? I get all my business from referrals. Why would I run a Facebook ad? And then the minute you start selling to people who have shoes, they just ask you questions like, well, what's your cost per lead? How does it work? Okay, cool. Sign up here, there and there, right? Like it's a totally different conversation. Yeah. How do you sell without meetings? It's really, really simple, Jacob, is I make the emphasis about the offer and the tools and the systems and not me. And so from a practical point of view, like I sell this through video, but it's really the offer that makes it able to be sold through video. So like I said, people know me as the video closing guy, but it's like, if you think about Apple, right? Apple has a store full of salespeople. And what cracks me up is, I don't know if you guys know this, but Apple salespeople, like for the most part, like have no fucking sales training. Like they don't know how to sell anything. They're not like good salespeople, but people inherently just want the iPhone. Right? So they don't need to be good salespeople. Enough people feel like having a camera and like 10,000 songs and apps and all your social media and ordering food and all the kind of things that it does. They think that's worth, $700 or $1,000 or whatever it is. And so they don't need good salespeople because the offer is doing the listing. And in like a low ticket way, McDonald's does this where when you drive by McDonald's, you always see an offer on the sign, like get 2 McDoohickeys for $2.99. And they don't depend on the pimply faced teenager to be like really good at selling you 2 McDoohickeys. It's just like for $2.99, 2 McDoohickeys is clearly worth it. And what happens with our stuff, it's more about if you hit on the right symptom that is painful and persistent and expensive enough, like it just becomes worth it just to let you take care of it. Like for me, I don't know how you guys value your time, but like if somebody shows up for real, and I'm dropping this not as a pretend thing. If you guys want to come to Mexico and get rid of the rats under my damn pool, like I'm happy to let you take care of that, right? Like this is like, I don't think enough people understand, like with really busy, successful people, they need good people. Like if you ask them, what do we need talent. We need good people who can come here. And what they really mean is I need people who can come in and solve problems for me. And so the more you can position your thing as like, we've already solved the problem for you and it's already done and all this miserable stuff you're dealing with, and like, just sign here and I'll have the rats gone by Tuesday. Your teams are slow and sometimes it's not that quite instant gratification, but hey, your crews of guys are standing around. Give me a couple of weeks to ramp up these Facebook ads and you won't have to deal with those slow periods, at least not how you're dealing with them now. Do I have a VSL or a template? Yes, I do. I'll lay it out for you here, Nick, if you want. It's super simple. So it started from, I don't know how many of you guys have done this, but I've done like at least 1,000 sales calls, probably a couple of thousand. I don't know. It's not like I was keeping count, but I've done like more than a few of them. And you just hear the same shit over and over and over. In fact, like with lawyers, for example, which I've done probably the most of number of sales calls, like I could tell you what they're going to say before they open their fucking mouth. And what I noticed is there's really like a lot of times we think like what we're selling them is different than what they actually want to know. And they usually just ask these questions in different orders in different ways. So they kind of say it like, what is this thing? That's usually how your call gets once you like actually get to the meat and potato. What is this thing about? Like, tell me here what you guys do. And you can tell that they have like some kind of vague idea of what it is you do. And so they're looking for it. And if you show them in that period, usually in the form of a problem they want to solve or an outcome thereafter, if you show them that thing, the next thing they wonder is, and this is usually kind of internal, but they wonder, will this work for me? Well, that's cool. You can get kitchen remodeling jobs. You think you could do that over here in Oklahoma? Right? Like essentially they're asking, and they ask it in all kinds of different ways, but they ask, will this work for me? And then this is the piece that actually is missing in most people's presentation is they wonder, well, how does it work? And this part is a very logical, practical step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's how we do it. Like for our motorcycle case stuff, it was, well, I don't know if you know this on Facebook ads, but I can target everybody within 50 miles of you that rides a motorcycle, bought a motorcycle helmet, or pays attention to pages with motorcycle accessories. I target those people and we run a little ad and says, dear motorcycle rider, I hope you're never in an accident, but if so, you need this free book that I'm going to send you so you do not get fucked by an insurance company. Download this in your inbox and I hope you never need it. Like that's it. Like we just kind of lay out the process for them. And then they wonder, and this is a thing a lot of people hide from and don't put in their promotional materials, but then they wonder, how much is it? How much is this thing? And you'd be amazed how many sales calls are just people wondering like, how much is this thing anyway? And then the simplest of questions is like, how do we get started? If you pass through all those checklists. And the greatest number of objections, by the way, come up in step 3 of the how does it work, where they essentially, it triggers usually a form of, this sounds like something I tried that didn't work before. Oh, we tried Facebook ads before, and you know what? Like we just got a bunch of low quality, shitty ass leads, and it wasn't really worth it. I feel like I just spent 10 grand and didn't get anything for my money, right? So the greatest number of objections you actually get are in the plan. So this is how I do it, kind of from a format point of view when we sell it through video. So the first thing I do is I show them a picture. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but if we're going back to the beginning, this is a symptom, full calendar, full of meetings. And this is an outcome of people bought my shit in video. And the best way to answer the what is this thing is actually with a picture, not with words. So the first thing I do in the video is I show them a picture. So it'd be something like this. For a lot of you guys, it'd just be like, if you work with me, you'll get people like this to reach out to you and they'll say, I'm interested in getting a kitchen remodel. So that's how I start every video, with a picture representation of either the result or the symptom it solves. Or I might like do the dentist chair. Say, hey, a lot of dentists have told me, spent all this money on a $40,000 website and the hygienist chair is empty. I'm going to show you how we're going to fill your hygienist chair in this video. And then they say, will it work for me? And I usually say, what conditions need to be met? And the conditions are actually really simple because we covered them already. I usually say, you need to be advertising now and you need to have a team. There's a reason I say that, because I only want the people that, like, you know, have a budget, have a team, believe in paying people to solve problems. When it comes to how does it work, I just lay out in 3 to 5 steps how I get them there. So like in the case of my motorcycle stuff, it was like, this is the targeting we use. These are the ads we use. This is what happens with the follow-up after the ad. And every single follow-up nurture email we send says, call your office. And what you'll find is when we run this long enough, people will start calling your office and say, I heard you guys do motorcycle cases. How much is it? I have a formula I call the IVQ. And if I could just summarize IVQ like this, is anytime you say how much something is, say what you get for it, because it's just as important. Like if I say to you, I got a car for $5 grand, that's not a deal. That's not a ripoff, because like the biggest variable is like what kind of car you're going to get. Like if I say I got like this junkyard 1972 used Hyundai that doesn't run and is rusted to shit, like you should run from that. But if I say, hey, like my wife cheated on me, I'm selling her brand new 911 turbo because I want to get back at that bitch. I'm just asking $5 grand for this $250,000 car, and I want to see the look on her face when she finds out it was me. And all I ask is the first person over here who gets $5 grand is getting that car. I paid for it. That's a deal, right? That's a deal, and you better run over. So whenever you mention the price, contextualize price with outcomes. So the ultimate example I have of this is I was on a webinar once, and there were these 2 guys who do a lot of TV for lawyers. They help them like buy media and sell and do commercials. And somebody asked them on the thing if they did any consulting. And the guy said, yes, we do. It's $100 grand a year for our consulting. if you spend at least 100 grand a month, we'll usually cut your media bill in half, which means you'll save usually like at least 600 grand working with us. And if you want to get started on that, you can just email my assistant at blah, blah, blah. And I watch like 3-4 lawyers sign up for a 100 grand thing without batting an eye. And that's the IVQ formula in a nutshell. He said the investment is 100 grand. The value is, if you spend 100 grand a month, we'll save you at least 50% on your media buying bill. That's what you're going to get for the 100 grand. And the qualifier is you got to be spending at least 100 grand. So he said who it was for. So I just say that as like, you know, for my stuff, it would be like, it's $2,500 a month for our motorcycle ads Facebook doohickey. You're usually going to end up with between 50 and 100 motorcycle leads a month that we're going to nurture. And the average case value for these is about 40 grand. If in the next 90 days, we get you even just one case, you will at least get a 10x ROI. And we find it works really, really well if you have some kind of phone system in place, know how to close it, you got a team of people, and you're currently spending money on ads. And then how do we get started? I literally just tell them, like, go here, click this button, fill this out, start onboarding yourself, click the payment, message me, I'm in. There's different ways I do it depending on the video and what I'm trying to get them to do. But like I just spell it out in really simple terms. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, you just want to bypass all the having to talk to somebody. A lot of times people don't realize that, especially busy, successful people, they actually prefer to buy without having to talk to people. Like where I live in Mexico, I took my family glamping, which is like you go fancy camping. I'm not doing it for the fanciness. I just do it because I don't have to pack a tent and figure it out with 3 kids in the middle of the night. But it's cool. You drive to the beach and they got it already set up and you have a shower and a, you know, sometimes a hot tub and stuff like that. It's really cool. But the way it's set up in Mexico, you can't just book it on a website. Like, it drives me crazy. You have to message people, and it's always done over WhatsApp. So I messaged 4 places last time, and my message was really simple. I said them all the same thing. Do you have Saturday and Sunday available? First place got back to me in 15 minutes, and they said something along the lines of, they sent me 60 numbers. And I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with these 60 numbers? And they said, well, if you drive to OXXO, which is a big convenience store chain here, you can tell them these 16 numbers and then you can pay through there, and then you can come back and take a picture of the receipt, and we'll consider that like your booking. So in my mind, I got to drive 10, 15 minutes up the road. I live in the middle of nowhere, like on kind of near the ocean, but I would have to drive 10, 15 minutes to a bank machine. Then I'd have to drive to OXXO. Then I'd have to give them 16 numbers. Then I had to, like in my broken Spanish, hope I didn't screw anything up in there, and then drive back to my house and take a picture and send it to them. Second place messaged me back in 20 minutes and said yes, and we'd take PayPal, and I booked him right then and there. No call, no anything. Third place got back to me in a day and a half, and I just never bothered responding because I already booked a glamping retreat, and that kind of itch was scratching in my mind. And I'm still waiting for the 4th place to message me back. Been a month, not holding my breath. But I say that too because, like, a lot of times we don't realize busy, successful people, if you ask them to jump through hoops to buy your shit, like a 60-minute call, or like as a lot of people do, or I got to wait 3 days and then get a 60-minute call, you're just adding hoops and complexity. And so I wish I knew this years ago, but it's actually easier to sell through video than not through video, because especially too, if somebody's not interested, like, or the money's too much, I just never hear from them. And then the rest of the people who do contact me are like pretty much like, okay, I'm ready to book for Saturday and Sunday. Please send me my payment link. And that's it. And a big part of it is, you're just doing a sales call and fast forward. That's like all we really do. I know that they want to know what it is, so I show them a picture, and then I say, it works really well if you're this situation. Here's the 3 to 5 steps how it works. The price of it is this much. Here's what you're going to get for that price. Works really well if you're in this situation. If that sounds like you and you'd like to just go ahead and get started and skip all the having to talk to somebody and blah, 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 we can just start getting moving on your account right now. There's a big old orange button below this video. Click the orange button. On the other side, you'll see a form that looks like this. I need this and this and that from you. And then you'll get an email. Don't hate me if I don't reply right away. I'm sometimes with my kids. I didn't take your money and disappear to a remote island in Cuba, but I'll get somebody from our team will get back to you within a couple of hours, and we're really excited to have you. Like, that's it. That's like what a typical video looks like for me. Do you guys want, because I get asked a lot about this. I only show examples of my older stuff because I've been ripped off so much, but I'm happy to share with you guys like some of the older stuff that you can see, like what we've done in the past. But that's how we do it without calls. And then there's probably, to be honest with you, there's another level depending on how much you want to take this. But the biggest piece missing from most people's marketing is this part, the logical, brainy, how does it work? You're not best to lead with it, but it needs to be in there. And you can actually pre-sell the offer before people even really see the video and see how well people will take it. Because like if I show people, here's my 3-step process for getting motorcycle cases on Facebook ads, and they're not interested in that like as a pre-sale, they probably won't buy it as an offer later. But if I know like that works, I can show people how easy it is. Like, hey, you're getting all these low value cases. I want to show you a better way to get the high value cases. And then what I do is I just give them the plan for free, because I know the chances of them being able to implement it without my help are basically literally zero. And then what ends up happening is a bunch of lawyers watch it and do nothing with it and go, that's really cool. And some of them go, hey, like that thing you were doing, can I just get you to do that for me? And I say, sure, no problem. I put all the details in a video. Is it cool if I just send you a video that explains what we do and how it works and how much it is and all those kind of questions you may have? And almost always that answers 95% of their questions. And then the little bit that's left, they say sometimes something like, I just have one more question. Like, I'm in Oklahoma and, you know, we have I'm not allowed to say this in my advertising. Do you think that would be an issue? And it's basically just variations of the second question of like, will this work for me? That's really it. It's like, for the most part, like selling through video, I just get people go, will this work for me? And, or yes, I'm in. And if they say, will it work for me? I give them a yes or no. And here's a payment link. Or a lot of times, like, I just like, more often than not, I would say like probably 60% of the time, like they don't even talk to me. I just get, I'm in. Like I do a lot of hunting for like, where did that payment just come from since I started selling through video, which was not a problem I had on sales calls. But like I mentioned earlier, the offers made metric, like you want to make more offers, make digital you make the offers, because digital you will just 24/7 pimp your offer unrelenting without taking time off. So for me, that means like sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m, somebody bought some shit. Like, all right. Where did we get 10 grand from today? Let's go see where that came from. Love it.
I think this may be like a little bit in the weeds, but in terms of like the flow for this on the ads, are you just like having people fill out a form and then they just get sent like an email or a text, like a link to your video?
I usually go from ad to video, and then below it is a buy.
Oh, so that's like just straight up to landing page.
It depends, to be honest with you, it depends a little bit where I'm at in the process. So if it's a brand new offer and I don't know if it's going to work, like I just launched the ad and all I'm trying to do is just get people to say, me, I'm interested. Like just a couple of leads that'll raise their hand. What's different than how most people do, this is like a very direct offer. Like this is the thing I'm going to sell. So if they'll raise their hand and say, I'm interested in that thing you sell, they'll probably buy it too. So it's a very strong indicator that it's like 1-to-1 and they'll buy it. The flip side of that is, I'll show you a real example. Sometimes I test this organic too, because I'm a cheapskate. I've given Facebook ads so much fucking money over the years. Like I hate just losing money on ads. Like I have a aversion to it. So sometimes I'll like literally just do shit like this. Anyone here who can handle more motorcycle cases? And like in a group, they go, me, I want some. And if I don't get that me response, like I don't make that as a thing. But that was like, okay, I guess I should run some ads for motorcycle cases. And that's like basically like, this is me testing this offer in like really stupid, simple forms. If it works and I know it works, then I will then direct people right to a video. And if it really, really works and I want to like run with that offer for a long time, I'll also add in some like follow-up and nurture to that. Like but it depends on where I'm at, right? So if it's like brand new, like I test the most basic bare bones version just to see if there's even like any interest at all. And then if I know there's interest, then I try and sell it direct through video. And then once I've got that converting, then I add a bunch of nurture and follow-up. And it's just all the nurture and follow-up is pre-selling this plan of like how we're going to do this thing differently than what you're doing now. And all of it just redirects to the same video, just over and over and over, just hammers with you, watch my sales video. And the way the video is presented, which I think is an important piece, a lot of times people think I'm presenting a video. I view it as like, if there's a piece of paper with a treasure map on it, the value isn't that I'm going to give you a piece of paper. The value is that like, I'm going to give you a treasure map. So like if I was presenting this to a lawyer, like I'm gonna show you in 4 steps how you guys can get motorcycle cases right now. Did you know you could target these people? Did you know you could do these? And I usually it's just straight up education, showing them our process. Like essentially I have a simple model, which is I give the ideas away for free and charge for the implementation. So I give you the ideas of like, here's how you can get your own motorcycle case. They don't even need to hire me, but chances are like if they're busy and successful and have money, like they don't want to do that shit. Like they just don't, right? Like I'm sure I could Google and watch YouTube videos for how to get rid of rats under a pool. But like I'd way rather just like write a check and make that go away, right? Like, so I just say that because that's the mentality of a lot of busy, successful people is like, once you show them the treasure map and it makes sense to them, they're like, okay, I want that. Do it for me. And the magic of these videos, when I first started making them, because a lot of people ask me them, they're exactly 5 minutes long. And the reason was, when I first started doing them, I didn't want to pay Loom money until I was sure I could make them convert through a video. And Loom is relentless on the free version. Like they cut you off right at 5 minutes. So I had to condense it down. Like if you go 5:04, it'll just cut you off. Like you don't get those extra bonus 4 seconds. So in the beginning, I was like really ruthless about making them 5 minutes or less. And now like sometimes like they can be 8 minutes long, right? Like they're not all like just these short 5 minute kind of versions. But I actually found out like the most clients like it that way. Like I would way rather just go to glamping, just be able to buy it on the website, give you my money, not have to talk to anybody and just show up when it's time, right? Like I don't need to have a long-winded conversation. You don't need to be back and forth. Just send me a payment link and I'll buy it, right? Like that's it. Like that's just the kind of the mentality of that of the buyers in the space. And so a big function of that video is like, you don't have to schedule with me, wait 3 days, talk to some salesperson you don't want to talk to, hearing a bunch of things you're not really that interested in, and then wait an hour at the end of it just to find out how much it is, right? Like, I'll just send you a video. And if you really just want to know how much it is, just like scroll to the fucking end of the video, because at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I tell you how much it is, right? If that's all you want to know, just scroll to the end of the video. But to save us both time, I put all the details in a video for you. And so they prefer it. They prefer to be able to assess the information on their own and buy it. And then our magic is in making it irresistible. You know, as John kind of pointed out earlier, like it's less time than doing it yourself. You get to be more of who you want. It saves and makes you some money. It's easier than doing it yourself. It's going to make you look cooler than if you didn't do it. Like, why would you even want to do it yourself?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a real magic in once you're able to use this offer formula and basically tell when an offer is going to work and not work based on that is then you can just summarize those offers into a video, or you can do this in a Google Doc. I follow the exact format in a Google Doc. I'll put a picture. Here's the thing. Works really, really well if you're these 1, 2, 3 things. Here's in 3 to 5 steps how it works. Here's what you're going to get for the investment. Here's who it works well for. If that's you want to click this button, go here, do this, see you on the other side. It's like, it's so nonchalant and matter of fact that a lot of times, I should also say, like, these are intentionally not overproduced videos. Like, they're just like this, like just me shooting off the cuff. I've even had a few where like I got toddlers and they'll scream in the background. I'm like, yeah, this is real life here. Like, I don't edit those out. Just like, I'm not trying to get a perfect take. I'm just, I just really like want to see if they're interested in the offer, because like it's a big thing. Like you want to fail when you want to launch a new offer or whatever, or your ads are fatigued or whatever. Like, I don't know, if it's not going to work, I want to know quickly. I don't want to have to put like a mountain of money and all these ideas behind it, and everybody tells you got to split test 45 things. I'm like, I just want to put out a hand raiser and know in $50 in a couple hours whether or not we got a winner or not. The good news is in our line of work, you can have 8 of them and, you know, strike out 7 times, and the 8th one can be a home run, and you can become a, you know, you can become an 8-figure business just from the one ad that worked. But yeah, that's kind of the flow of it since you guys asked. Like the step 1 is, you know, put the really gangster version of the offer out there. And if you get some interest, build upon it and then come up with a, you know, more polished presentation about it. And then if, or I should say, when you get that piece converting, then like add some nurture and follow up, which will only make it stronger and work better. For me, actually, the big saver of this, and there was a guy who influenced me. His name was Brad's Ads, like years ago. I never even bought from him. I just was so influenced by his ads. So I did what everybody else said you got to do. They're like, split test this and split test that. And all that it did for me, I'm not saying it doesn't work for a lot of people, but for me, like I just split tested a bazillion shitty ads that didn't all work. And I was just fucking losing money left and right and frustrated as a motherfucker, for lack of a better term, with my Facebook ads. Like I was just really miserable with how they were performing. And Brad had one ad where he said, like, essentially the same thing was his experience. And he said, I eventually just focused on coming up with one really great offer, and I would test one really great offer at a time and go all in on one single ad. And he's like, I ditched all the complexity. I ditched all the, and I'm not saying all the things don't matter. Obviously, like they do, but once he started just focusing on nailing that one piece, like he found the ads just worked better and he could scale more easily. And since I've started doing that, that's also been my experience. You know, like less moving pieces. That's the whole magic, is like I can know in 10 or 15 minutes whether or not like people are going to buy some shit. And then I don't even have to build stuff that people aren't going to be interested. Because I play around with a lot of stuff, just so you guys know. I have like multiple businesses. I'm like one of those ADD entrepreneurs. I got like, we do real estate wholesaling that I do with virtual assistants. Friend of mine, Matt Larson, who's been pretty instrumental in building that. You know, I kind of coach and mentor other agencies. I still have, you know, a bunch of legacy agency clients that have been with me since eternity, and all of those things. And I use this offer formula. Like I recycle the same stuff in all our businesses. Not like I come up with new stuff. Like I can now I've gotten to the point where I can take this formula, give it to ChatGPT and our real estate stuff. It writes letters for us and sends it out the door in 10 minutes. And so like we do a lot of this stuff, same kind of stuff you guys are doing on Facebook ads, but we do it with direct mail. And a lot of times people see it and they're like, where do you come up with this stuff? And blah, blah, blah. But it's just this. It's just a little spreadsheet. What are the symptoms? What's new and exciting? What's the outcome? What are the timer effects? Okay, ChatGPT, here they are. Compose this for me. Letter. All right. Send. Pass it off to my VA, Karen. This is the list we're going to mail. Send this out the door. And then we have real estate deals like 10 minutes later. Not that they show up 10 minutes later. There's always like a delay in the process, but like the actual our part of it, you know, it's like super easy, super succinct. See, Matt. You guys got anything else you want to add? See, Jacob's got a hand up.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Going back to how you were talking about the offers for SEO for local service businesses, and you were talking about the date analogy. You had mentioned that you had made small websites catered around a service that they were interested in. Could you touch on that a little bit more? Like, was that date analogy, was that a free website that you had created? And
no, it wasn't free. So it actually used to blow my mind, because like there's levels to like kind of this positioning thing. But I remember like in the early days, it was really hard to get somebody to pay me like $1,000 for a website design. Back in those days, I actually like did it myself. So it was extra. Not only was it hard to sell, but it was hard to fulfill on and everything. And we got into the plastic surgery space. Eventually I niched down. And what I found was there was a company in the plastic surgery space. They're probably still a thing. I don't know, because I haven't done that agency for like probably 7, 8, I don't know, 10 years or whatever. But there was an agency called MedNet, and they sold websites for $40,000. And the crazy thing to me, actually, they went all the way up to 100 grand. And these are just like local business plastic surgery sites. And I remember the crazy thing to me was you didn't even own your website. So you give them like 50 to 100 grand for a website, and you didn't even own it. After 2 to 3 years, it was a lease. They would take it back and they would say, if you want it for another 2, 3 years, you got to pony up another 100 grand, or you got to pay us to redesign something new. And so MedNet was doing that. I was like, how are these fuckers doing it? Like that was a bane of my existence for like a good 5 years, was how does MedNet get 40 grand? And I struggled to get $1,000 for a fucking WordPress design. And it wasn't until that I talked to the surgeons that I realized a couple of things of how easy it was. They would say, I was like, why did you give MedNet 50 grand for this fucking hunk of garbage you got in front of you that has slow ass load time? And they would go, well, you know, if I just get 1 or 2 patients from it, I make my investment back. And so they weren't really buying the website. They were buying the outcome of the website, just if I get 1 or 2 patients. And also, like, it really introduced me to the idea that some plastic surgeons are buyers and some are not. And I had spent a lot of time chasing non-buyers, you know, the non-shoe buyers, the people who are never going to buy shoes, and trying to convince them. So I see this when people sell websites. The thing to do is immediately try and sell to somebody who doesn't have a website. Like, if they don't have a website in 2024, like, it's because they don't fucking want one, right? It's not because they haven't figured out, like, there's this new technology called the internet, right? And so the flip side of that is, like, I have lawyers who, like, literally have hundreds of websites. They have like a Spanish version of their website, like, you know, lawyer website, espanol.com, and they have one for this city and one for that city and one for their satellite office and one here, one just for the lawyer's bio. And so I realized that, like, it's way easier to sell an add-on to what they're already doing than it is to try and do that. And so I wish I could tell you I came up with the idea like it was some stroke of genius, but I was in a meeting with a surgeon. We were in Beverly Hills, and he came to me and he's like, you know, I really want to sell more mommy makeover patients. And I said, okay. And he said, do you think you guys could you build a website that was just for mommy makeovers? And those of you guys who made a website, like, you know, it's like, it's not any different making this website or that, like, just different content, different images, but the process is essentially the same. And so I was like, yeah, like, it's no problem. And then he was like, do you think we could rank for like mommy makeover keywords? And back in those days, like, websites used to rank above the map, My Business, Google Places, whatever you want to call listings. Like, Google's played with their search results a lot over like 15, 20 years. But I Googled like mommy makeover, and I was surprised to find like it was even easier to rank for the stuff than we were already going, because like most of the surgeons were trying to rank for their main keywords like plastic surgeon and breast augmentation. And so it was actually easier. It was way less competition. There weren't any of the crazy directories or whatever. I was like, yeah, dude, this is slam dunk. And then he was like, all right. And then he just paid us and was like, go build that for me. And I was kind of surprised because that was the first point like I'd ever had an easy sale. Like, I'd sold a lot of SEO, but it was always like convincing, and it was hard. It was like, and I didn't know it at the time, but I had a hard to sell offer. My main offer, like, pay me for a year of SEO and hopefully it works. That was a hard to sell offer. And the mommy makeover mini site will build and rank a mommy make. That was an easy to sell offer. And the reason is it's something I called the $100 bill, which is basically like, if you help your client sell their most expensive thing, they're always going to like desire that a lot. So like an online coach, they may have a $27 ebook and they may have a $40,000 mastermind. Like, they probably want to sell the $40,000 mastermind a lot more than the $27 ebook, if you're going to take a guess at that. And there's versions of this in every industry. Like, a roofer might get a $99 repair job and a $250,000 commercial roof. And so all we did is we helped them sell their most expensive thing, their $100 bill, on a website. And what was really interesting on that, Jacob, is whenever I would show that to a surgeon, like, they wanted it. There was like everything else had been hard, and they would like ghost me and make me write proposals, and I'd chase them. Like, after the 5th time of beating them over the head, they would finally buy some SEO. But whenever I brought up the mini site, there was no call, there was no send me a proposal. There was like, I always just got a check. And sometimes they would say like, well, I don't want to sell mommy makeovers. I want to sell nose jobs. Can you make me a nose job mini site? And like, boom, here's your check. No like follow up with me, get back to me, talk to me. Like, they just always bought it instantaneously. And so it checks a couple of boxes on this offer thing. Like, I understand that in hindsight. I didn't understand it at the time. But firstly, it's an add-on, not a replacement, right? Like, I'm not trying to sell you a new website where you then have to get rid of your old one. I'm saying, let's build a dessert that goes complementary to what you already have. So that was the first piece. We were selling their most expensive thing. And so the math worked. Because like, for them, they're like, if I just get one mommy makeover thing, I don't care what this site cost me. For them, that was like, they would make 40 grand for just one patient. So it was like, just get me one in 2 years, and all right, like, that's a fair deal at 10 grand or whatever. And so like I was, like I said, I was doing that all by accident. I didn't even come up with the idea. And I wish I was smart enough to recognize at the time what I had. But whenever we sold those mini sites, not only would we sell them like super easy, but we always get SEO like as a recurring deal out of the back end. And you can do this on purpose. Like we did, our Facebook ads were the same kind of variation of the same ideas. Like we're not really selling Facebook ads. We're selling help you sell your most expensive kind of clients. And essentially what they're buying their way out of is all the headaches of dealing with the low value kind of their version of the, I only make $45 for this guy whose gums are bleeding and says his other doctor would be finished, which for lawyers is like, there's all this bureaucracy, there's all this paperwork, there's all this filing fees, there's all this fucking driving down to the courthouse, and there's all this bullshit. If I'm going to do that, I'd much rather do that for an $80,000 case than a $4,000 one, right? It's the same place to file, it's the same fee, it's the same process, but like if I'm going to do it, I'd way rather do it one time for 80 grand than do it, 20 times for 4,000. And so, like I was hitting on a lot of those boxes, but like admittedly back in those days, it was all by accident. Like now I do this intentionally, but back in those days, it's a little bit of dumb shit luck. Like the doctors just told me what they wanted and we built it. But you can do this in any industry. Like if you want to make your Facebook ads more desirable, just to like ask them like, who are the kind of clients or who are the kind of customers or who are the kind of patients you wish you had more of? And like, can I help you sell those things with Facebook ads? And they'll almost always like not love it. It's just like, because again, like the work is the same. Like I used to have a mentor who owned lots of apartment buildings. And he said, if I could go back, I would buy bigger apartment buildings because it's the same headaches. I still got to find a property manager and someone to collect rent, and I got to get a maintenance person. And, but instead of having the cost for 12 units, I'd have them for 80 units and we'd have more leftover profit. And it's still the same amount of work for me because I still got to find one maintenance person. I still got to find one live-in superintendent or whatever. And a lot of things are like that, where it's like, if a roofer is going to drive out to a job to go give a quote, if there's a huge difference if you're getting them a $75 quote or a $75,000 quote. So all things being equal, like make your system help them sell their expensive thing, and they'll dig it a lot more. So I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful to you or not, but that's just kind of was our experience with that. Is that we typically sold those websites back in the day for like 5 to 10 grand. And it was their idea, by the way. I didn't come up with the math on that either. Like that's how dumb shit luck that was. They were just like, can I give you 5 grand for this? Give me 5 grand for a website anytime you feel like it.
That's awesome.
Anytime you want a new website.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to, that's a great background about how that came out to be.
Appreciate that, John.
I think right now is like my idea as a service offering, my niche is in home services, and it seems like a great deal of them, as at least in my research, was getting them ranked higher on Google Maps because it seems that they value that the most. And so I would imagine a lot of SEO goes into play with that. And I was kind of wondering, what would be the best way to like introduce that type of offering if you were still to use like some sort of the trial version or a smaller package version as a stepping stone into that kind of offering.
Well, I don't think a Google business is actually an offering. Like I think that's a deliverable. Like a restaurant delivers food, but I'm going to make food for you is not an offer. Like I'm going to get you all you can eat barbecue ribs for $69. And the reason I say that is because if you could look at why they're even buying the Google listing, it's like it's something that they're after, that they intend for. And I say this because this is really important, because most people sell the process of getting there. Like I compare the process to like a plane ride. So what I mean by that is like if you got in a plane, chances are like you're leaving somewhere and you're going somewhere. And the most important consideration, like at least for me, when I book flights, is like I want to know that they get to where I'm going. You'd fly to, in my case, La Paz, Mexico, right? Like that's an important detail. Like I fly this really shitty gangster airline called Aeromex or Volaris. Why do I fly Volaris? Because they have the most number of flights from my airport that's 10 minutes from my house. Not because I'm like, I want to go on the gangster airline. So a big part of that is like if you took an average person who's like working at an office job and they have meetings and politics and things like that, and they're trying to fly to say like La Paz and they want to see sunshine and beach and drinking out of a coconut and bikini babes, the worst thing you can do as a salesperson is sell them the journey. Is go, well, we got an amazing plane ride. We got our peanuts got 3 bags. Our stewardess is extra friendly because all you give a fuck about is like, well, do you land in La Paz? Can you get there? Can you take me from here to there? And so I would suggest that the Google business places and the SEO, even though it seems like they want those things, those are a step on the way. Those are plane rides on the way to the thing they really want. And if you figure out the thing they really want, which is almost always in these things where like they want to address slow periods of time, they want to get certain types of jobs. They're sick and tired of whatever they're doing as their current process. Like maybe they're, living off of referrals or, Angie's List. They're paying for leads on Angie's List and things like that. And Angie's List is a total fucking nightmare. And they still got all this payroll and overhead to manage. And chances are like they just want to have like regular steady stuff. And a lot of times like you can make an offer stand out by just being like, we'll bring you different types of jobs. Like, hey, I'll just only help you get deck jobs, or I'll only help you get, kitchen remodeling or bathroom remodeling or basements or flooding jobs. Like I've helped water damage contractors to only get water damage kind of work. So even though it seems like they want the Google business places, like that's just a plane ride on the destination to the thing they really want. And so you have to think more about like, where are they leaving from and where are they trying to get to? And a lot of times a 10-degree shift in an offer, like it will immediately make it 1,000 times more desirable. So like, for example, you say that, remember that like the dentist said like he had pain in his neck and back and his hair was all over the place and this guy's screaming at him and the teeth hurts and he barely makes $45 and he thought he would be happier doing cocaine and investment banking. A 10-degree shift from I'll run Google or I'll run SEO to I'll run SEO to help you sell veneer patients and get the $40,000 cosmetic jobs, even though it's like almost identical from a delivery point of view, like those are vastly different promises of like, I'll just bring you anyone and get you ranked versus I'll bring you a very specific high value, desirable type of person. So I say that because like, it doesn't even really matter if you're selling, if your deliverable is Facebook ads or SEO, it's like, it's really just symptoms and outcomes. Like, what are you helping them move away from? And what are you helping them get towards? The least interesting part of this whole offer is your thing to them. Like to us, it's the most important thing because that's all your work. That's all you're in the trenches delivering and fulfilling on it. But in the space in between, like they don't give a fuck if the calls are coming from Google or Facebook or wherever, right? Like they just, as long as I got work to keep my guys busy, like that's generally all that really matters to kind of those types is like, as long as we're booked 2 months out solid, I'm happy. So I say that because like, don't get caught up in thinking that they need SEO. No, it may be more desirable to sell SEO if they believe that's the best way to get what they want. But even still, like they don't like if you could actually look inside their brains and see how much they actually think about their Google listening, I bet you it's less than once a month. Like they don't think about their websites as much as we want to talk about their websites and all those things. Like they're very much thinking about it as it shows up in their real world scenario of like, oh, Dave messaged me and goes, "What do you want me to do today, boss? Shit, I ain't got no work for you." Well, you go on standby, Dave. You sweep the floors. I'll pay you $30 an hour to sweep the floors. Or can you vacuum your truck? And I'll let you know when we got work for you again. So they're very much just like thinking about it as it shows up in their world. And so a lot of times we know that the thing in their world that will change their destiny is their Google Places listing or the right Facebook ad. And so we talk about that, but it's like literally the least interesting piece. And so the more you de-emphasize that and really just focus on you're moving away from this and you're moving towards that, like really think about it. You're leaving Chicago and you're going to here. And the plane ride in between is really the least interesting detail. If there's 3 flights, then you may feel a little bit differently, but often like if you kind of position your offers these ways, you're going to be the only one talking to them like that in their space. Because everybody else is just going to say, I'll give you more leads and more sales, more customers. It's so great. And then you're saying, hey, seems like it really sucks doing those $150 fillings and your neck and back hurt. I can bring you the high value veneers patients. And if you, once you start getting a steady flow of those, you can drop like 3/4 of your patient roster and spend way less time being a dentist and way more time being at the golf course. Those are not the same offer. Polaris is fine. I disagree with that, Jacob.
Awesome, Frankie. Thanks so much. That's very helpful.
But I tell you that because like for real, like if I look at 20 agency owner shit, 19 of them are selling the plane ride and not the fucking destination of the plane ride. And so they're like metaphorically saying, we got really comfy seats. It's got ergonomic leg room. We got the Airbus 737. Like I compare it to like, imagine you wanted to have backyard barbecues. And so you called a deck guy to come build you a deck so you could like build a big old back porch and entertain your guests. And somebody recommends your friend, a friend who's a handyman, and he comes out there and you say like, so what do you think? Can you build a deck here? Can I have my barbecues? And he gives you some kind of wishy-washy and he gives you one of these, well, it kind of depends on this and it kind of depends on that, blah, blah, blah. You're probably not going to buy it. But if you compare that to a guy who comes in and says, absolutely, I can build you a deck. And like they got a sale down at Home Depot right now. I can grab some wood. I can get the perfect little parts for you. And I'll measure out the frame first. Obviously, I don't actually build decks. So you guys can tell I'm winging this a little bit. But we got the perfect little sale. I'll sand that thing out and I'll have it stained. You can be inconvenienced for about 12 hours. But as soon as that thing's done, it's going to look beautiful. You let that thing dry off. You'll have the best barbecues you ever had in your life. I promise you. And what a lot of people do is when you sell the deliverables, you're like the first guy and you're talking about like, well, I got the Sander 9000. I'm going to use the super mega A40 screw. And we use the extra long roofing nails. It comes with a warranty. And you're like, that's great. Can you just build a fucking deck? Yes or no? And so almost always like we sell the destination instead of the finished deck. And more deeper than the finished deck is the barbecues they're going to have on top of it. Like, I'll tell you, like, just after working with attorneys a lot, like one of the things that almost all businesses stress about is, I don't know about you guys, but has your entrepreneurial income been a nice, even straight line? Been doing this 20 years, still waiting for that straight line? Or is it like a little zigzaggy with some extreme highs and lows and lots of all over the place and that kind of thing? I mean, that's true of our clients' businesses too. And so like one of the things that stresses them out is like, it's just all over the place. And the more you do your thing and can like kind of bring it even keel to them, the more they love it, but they're not buying the Facebook ads that provide that even keel. They just want some sleep at night so that like they can forecast into the future and not worry about, can I pay my bills next month? Yes or no? How am I going to make payroll? And by the way, like a lot of times, I don't know if you guys experience this as well, but I kind of thought like for me, like the magic number getting started in 2007 was like, if I could just get to 10K a month, my life would be, actually it was 5K originally and then became 10K. It's like, I'll never need a job again. That was like, I was just going to have it made. I was just going to be sleeping on mountains of money. And I figured like, once you start getting those upper levels where you're doing like, 100,000 a month and more, and even like going to 8 figures that you'd never stress about money. And it's the opposite. Like now you got payroll and people to manage. And like, I had a situation here where, my wife was at the bank machine. She took my wallet with me and got pickpocketed. And I bank in Canada, and I had a month and a half almost where I had no access to any of like my main funds. And it was right around Christmas time. And I have a bunch of Filipino VAs that work for me. And I also have a bunch of like a whole team here domestically in Mexico. And in both places, it's custom to pay an extra month's salary. And I didn't even have access to the normal bank account I paid payroll with. And I managed to like get really resourceful, and I sold a bunch of stuff and generated like, I don't remember exactly how much I had to come up with. I was behind the scenes eating fucking spaghetti noodles in ramen daily. Well, the bills were getting paid for everybody else, but it was a really, really fucking stressful period. And so I say that to you because a lot of times like people look at our clients and think like they got it all figured out, and it's really the opposite. Like you guys bring immense value to them, and it's the less about the journey and more just about like just really think about it really basic symptoms and outcomes. Don't get caught up in the Google places or the Facebook ad that's in the middle of it. Like really nail those really fundamental things. And how is this different, and all the timer things they're going to eliminate. And what you'll find is you can sell Google ads, you can sell websites, you can sell SEO, you can sell pay-per-click, you can sell funnels. Like it's all the same shit because they're after the same outcome. Maybe Ilka? Un poquito? Yeah. My wife's asking if I'm hungry. It's crazy too, though, but Jacob, because as much as I say sell the destination, not the plane ride, like click on 20 agency websites and 19 of them are selling the plane ride. We'll get you more leads and more sales. Our SEO is #1 guaranteed. Google rank at top of the system. Our Facebook ads is the 1, 2, 3 greatest. We'll get you so many fucking leads and blah, 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 blah. And they skip the, hey, does it suck doing $150 fillings that you get to like barely keep $40? Have a neck and back pain for some fucking crazy guy who complains about his last dentist was better than you. That's like I don't know if anybody's ever told you guys this, but emotion, sell, and copy, not logic. You know, I don't know about you guys, but like I don't write like super emotionally charged ads. Like I just don't. But if you hit on a symptom that somebody really, really has, what you'll find is the emotional response happens automatically just because you said something really accurately. I'll show you what I mean if I can give you guys an example. Direct mail. So this is one of my favorite ones. I've done this, like, to be honest, because I mentor agency people. I've done this, like, I'll show you guys as an example of doing this for you guys, insight into our brain. But this is one we can relate to as a guy who's had many Facebook ad accounts banned. So I'll just read it to you. Carl says, right, no more Mr. Nice Guy. I'm willing to pay for help on this, guys. Does anybody know of any watertight methods of getting back onto Facebook ads? Don't care how black hat the methods are. Virtual computers, fake accounts, don't care. Needs must. Facebook have screwed me over, so I do not care in the slightest about breaking their rules. Over the last 3 years, I've put hundreds of thousands of pounds into this platform, and in return, I've been treated like a piece of shit. Facebook, if you're reading this, suck my hairy balls. You have perma-banned my personal profile from advertising. You banned my business partner. You banned my salesman. You trampled on years and years of blood, sweat, and tears. You ruined my business. You're responsible for 5 people becoming unemployed amid a worldwide health crisis where rocking horse shit is easier to find than unemployment. We have done absolutely nothing wrong. We've read through your policies endless times and can't find a single one that we broke. So if I just say, like in a group, Facebook ad account banned, ? Which is a symptom. What do you think happens to Carl on the inside? Right, that's not emotionally charged copy. Facebook ad account banned, ? But what do you think happens to Carl when he reads that? Right? Like you can almost hear it. So that's why I say that if you accurately nail their symptoms in this, like the emotional response is guaranteed. And so you can actually write like ads that are really just stupid, simple, that like people have large emotional reactions and buying emotional reactions, which are probably the kind you guys most want to experience. Just based on like accurately describing something they're going through. Because there's a thing, like if you describe somebody's symptoms, it's automatically assumed that they have the answer. And so like, if like, I don't know, I always imagine like there's 2 guys at a golf course and they're both like hitting balls all day long, but one of the guys is not a regular golfer. And on the back 9, like his elbow just really starts hurting. By the time he gets to the clubhouse, he's in a lot of pain. Imagine those 2 guys are sitting in the clubhouse and I walk up and I say, hey, you guys ever find that after you play around a golf, like it just really hurts in your elbow, but not right away. Like usually starts happening in like the back 9. And of course, one of the guys is, yeah, that's exactly what happens. If I go, well, gotta go, see you later, that guy's going to chase me out of the bar. It's gonna go, well, what did you figure out? How does it work? Like blah blah blah. So the magic of like really nailing the symptom as part of this, which is a thing most people skip, is that it's automatically assumed you have the solution if you just accurately describe the problem. Which, as I showed you guys, like you're just parroting, you're just telling them the problem they told you they got, or the symptom they told you they have. Like you're not like making that up. Like they're telling you what it is, and then you're feeding it back to them. You're just going, ban Facebook account question mark, and they go, and then immediately it's assumed you have the solution. And then the thing that trips people up in this offer matrix is then you show them an outcome they want is if you show them something that immediately triggers, well, I heard that before and I know that's not true, then they'll stop you. But if you immediately then say, hey, we got a different thing, something you've never even heard of before that'll get you there, and it's faster, it's easier, it's cheaper, and you're going to look better than if you just did it yourself. Like it doesn't even make sense for them to not buy it from you. You guys are awesome, by the way. 10 of you guys have hung with me for like 2 hours. It's great. I hope this is helpful to you guys. For me, like I said, the big side effect is way less ad creatives to test, and when they fatigue, like I know what to do with them like right away. Just like sometimes you can you take a whole new ad and make it new by just changing the image from the symptom to the outcome, or then you can like take the same ad and pin it around a different symptom, and it's like a brand new ad, and you don't have to come up with a new offer. Or sometimes you can just like kind of modify hey, what we do that's different. Or you can just make a big deal about all the timer stuff. Like there's endless like variations you can come up with, and they're each in their own, like they're unique to the people who see them, but like it's not like you're coming up with new creatives, you're just giving new life to a hook you already had. And then I found that you can take winners and run them for years. And for us, like our ads are so stupid simple. Like I have like really basic VAs that manage our ads. Like a lot of people have like pro media buyers and they're like trying to get it down another penny. Like I have VAs that I had to like walk them through where to even click the buttons on Facebook, because that's how little they know about Facebook ads. But I'm like, the thing that's selling it is the offer. It's like I don't need like all the fancy details, because I know if the offer is easy to sell, like a lot of it will work itself out. And therefore, just like Apple doesn't need pro salespeople or their system will break. It's just like people just want to fucking buy an iPhone. Just don't fuck up the cash register when they do it. You guys got anything else you want to add? I'm happy. I'm an open book. We don't have to stay like within the context of just this offer form. Like, 'cause I know you guys had some questions about, client types and how we sell at Phoneless, like whatever you guys want to know. Like, we don't necessarily have to talk about the topic at hand.
I think this has just been super. Oh,
Nice. Appreciate that.
unmuted.
Appreciate you guys sticking
Super
around.
useful, bro. It's like this is some really hectic stuff to wrap your brain around, and you've made it really, really simple. So yeah, I just really appreciate that. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's for me, this is like therapy, because like I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but for the first 10 years, at least of my journey, I like couldn't even tell my family what I did for a living. They're like, what is it you do again? What? And like it was just like a secret. Like, no matter how many times you explain it to them, like they just didn't get it. And so I never thought when I was like figuring all this stuff out on my own that it would ever be useful to anyone else. So it's like, for me, it's therapy that like, oh my God, like some other people went through the same shit I did. For sure, testing those offers on Jeff style color image, like for sure. There's lots of ways to improve upon this. I just like, for me, like what I needed was simplicity in like, if I have an idea and I think it's going to work, like I need to be able to test it and know for sure and either fail fast or win quickly. But I need real-time feedback from the market as fast as humanly possible. And so really what I use this for more than anything is like, if I want to test an email offer, and you can also float the idea out there without actually having anything for sale attached to it. Like I showed you guys that motorcycle one. It's like, anybody here looking to get more motorcycle cases? Me. Right? There's no formal offer attached to that, but if nobody said me, like you probably shouldn't sell something attached to that. The wife just brought some food.
Yeah, I was just about to actually run an ad and with a specific target market in mind. And now after watching this, I think I'm gonna completely redo what I'm doing. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I hope that's a better improved redo.
Me too. Me too.
I mean, you never know. Like I don't bat 1,000 on this, but I have a way higher batting average since I started doing this. And when I swing and miss, I swing and miss a lot faster and for a lot cheaper. And also I'm able to run winners for longer. That's kind of a side effect. It's like we can sometimes get years out of an offer. And you know, like not have to change a great deal of pieces. Nick, I make sales every day through Google Docs. So yes, I have tried it. That's one of the side effects of doing this is once I started switching to my offers being done through video and through Google Docs, which are both this formula, like sometimes I do it visually, sometimes I do it in Google Doc, but it's the same format. It doesn't change. Is I'm able to sell 24/7, like literally 24/7, because people don't need to talk to me to get the information to decide whether or not they want to buy it. And so I'm not saying every single day of my life is a payday, but like 98% of them are. And that's been cool because in the early days of my entrepreneurial journey, like one of the most stressful things is like I would make a bunch of money, but then I didn't know how long that money had to last me. And then I was like, oh, okay, you just made 30 grand in a day. That's like really cool. But it's like, does this have to last you till next March of next year? Like I didn't know. And the more I've started selling this way, and the real like thing behind it is because the digital version of me is always making offers and income is directly tied to offers made. It's like I'm just always making offers, and therefore people are like, you know, some of those land. You know, it's the most normal thing in the world for me now to like just have payments come in for shit. Yeah, this is a template right here. I show a picture of the thing, and then I say, it works really well if you're this kind of person. And then I say, hey, how does it work? If I just give you guys a format for how I do this, I sometimes do this in content too. My content is all the same. Like I basically do old plan versus new plan. So I describe in 3 to 5 steps what you're doing now. And then I describe in 3 to 5 steps what you would do using my system. And then like all the timer things. And what happens is if you write about old plan versus new plan, you'll inevitably hit on all these symptoms and new and exciting. So like I do this like an example in the agency space. Like a lot of people teach in our space, go cold message like a bazillion strangers and like pitching some shit in their inbox. I know all you guys are getting the same booked appointment bro shit that I'm getting. Well, quick question, bro. I can get you 30 booked appointments. Like I know you guys get that shit too. And that's what the vast majority of people are teaching in our space, which is one of the things I love about Jeff is Jeff is showing you guys what I think is a way fucking smarter way of doing it. The old plan versus new plan is like, I might say like the old plan is, hey, I know everybody's telling you got to cold message a bazillion strangers and use all these fancy scripts and automations and blah, 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 and servers and tools. And on top of that, you're trying to get hundreds of book calls so that you can hopefully close a small handful of people and work with them. But I found it's way easier just to fire up an ad in a Google Doc and I can have sales in a couple hours. And I don't have to talk to anybody to do that. Immediately, if you're doing that old plan or some form of that, like like it hits you on all the symptom levels. And we talk about the outcome it creates, both with the old plan and the new plan, and how much easier and it's already new and exciting and it already has some built-in timer things to it. So sometimes I'll literally just like kind of write out, what are they doing now? What does my process look like? And then I'll write an ad based or like content, you know, I do it in all kinds of different ways. It's always the same thing, but like sometimes I do it in video, sometimes I do it in a Google Doc, but it's the same format over and over. But if you're doing one of those things, like if you're one of those people who's cold messaging 1,000 people and trying to get calls, like I just hit you, you already understand that that's like thousands of hours of grinding just to try and get a few deals. And you can do this in any industry, like it's not limited to agency owners. Like since we were talking about dentists, old plan might be, you know, if he's trying to fill the referral or if he's trying to fill the hygienist chair, it might be like he's dependent on referrals. He's tried some flyers. He tried the SEO. He's been through 12 vendors. None of it really seems to get the consistent flow that he wants. And I'm saying, hey, let's just, and all of it just ends up bringing the $150 complaints about the price. My old dentist would have been finished and your neck and back hurt. Well, we've got a really simple Facebook ad system that is designed only to get veneer patients. And as you know, they're like $35,000 and up patients, and we got the exact targeting, the exact ads all set up, figured out, ready to go. And I'd love to just swipe and deploy this and go ahead and put that in your dental practice. I'm probably going to sell a lot of that fucking Facebook ad service. But that's the simplest format I use, is like old plan versus new plan. And then I can do all kinds of content. I can do all kinds of ads. I can do all kinds of nurturing. I can do email. I can do video, but it's not really new shit. Sometimes I shit you not. I do one of these in 10 minutes. I mail out a fucking offer and then I'm done for the day. Work is done for the day. Let's come up with a cool offer, send it out, put it in front of people, and let the technology deliver the presentation. And we're done. Off to the beach. You'll actually find, by the way, as you get more leverage on it like that, that you'll actually, at least for me, that you'll get bored and want to work more sometimes. But you don't need to, which is a different place to be in, I think. At least for me, I'm like super passionate about this stuff because I spent years in that, like I'm desperate. I need clients, man. I need clients. I need clients. Now it's more just like, what are all these payments for? And I even get stuff that comes in like royalty, and we get real estate wholesaling checks that come in and things like that. But yeah, I frequently have to investigate who just paid me for what. And then the cool thing is, it leaves you with more time left over to actually help and serve people because you didn't spend all of your time fucking chasing them to try and get them. Like, I think about the what everybody's saying where you got to like knock on doors and cold message people and do all that. Like that's your whole fucking month. Like you don't have any time left over to actually like run some fucking ads and help the client win because you're so busy like hustling to go get them. Ads where if you can float out an offer, test it in 15 minutes. And probably your first time through, it won't take 15 minutes, but once you like do it a couple times, it's like pretty quick. Then what you'll find is like, you know, you can make sales pretty quickly. And then you can actually focus on like, you know, actually helping those people. Because now the only thing you got to do for an hour in that day is figure out like, you know, how to get it working for the client. And then the other thing too is, you know, how we've adapted this too. We've got some people who are doing this for their clients. So I think about Lana, who was she was doing it for yoga studios, and a lot of you guys can relate to this pain point. So she's running Facebook ads to try and help them sell members. And yoga studio owners can't even sell a fucking free thing on the phone. Like, that's how bad they are. Like, the offer was come in for a free session and try it out. And they would drive the call originally to the yoga studio. Well, they don't answer the phone half the time. And then they don't know what to say on the phone half the time. And they don't know how to close those people and say, hey, we got an opening on Wednesday. Why don't you come join us on Wednesday? Like, the close can be that easy. They don't do that. And she was just banging her head against the wall, going like, are these people like retarded? We can't sell a free thing. And then she would get some of them through the free hurdle. And what would happen is, once they would get through the free hurdle, then you got to offer them the paid thing. And you guys would be shocked to learn that local businesses suck at that too. And even the bigger ones that like have their stuff, you know, like offers and stuff that work, they still have like individual store managers that like don't understand sales in that process, and so they still screw it up. And we realized, like, let's just make a really killer offer and then take it out of their hands altogether and deliver it through technology. And instead of saying, hey, we'll have somebody call you and then you try and sell them, we'll just like sell them in a, you know, the equivalent of a Google Doc, and let them book on a calendar and come in, and they'll just have paid you in advance and show up pre-sold, and you don't have to do anything other than do yoga. And I mean, you guys would probably guess clients like that a lot more than give me a phone call that's a tire kicker. Like, I think about those glamping retreats. I think about the one that took a day and a half to respond. I guarantee you, like, that guy's a tire kicker. He just messaged us and didn't even book. But it's like, no, actually, you just took a fucking day and a half to respond. Like, by then, I already booked with someone else. So what happens is, you know, I've seen it so many times, time and time again, you get in this pissing match with the client of, your leads suck. Well, you suck at closing them. It's because they're shitty leads. No, it's because you're shit at closing, and you never win. You just end up, you know, best case scenario, they fire you. Worst case scenario, like, they demand an instant refund or whatever. And so much of that can be eliminated by just like not even putting it in their hands to begin with. Like, I know how to, if you know how to make offers, you're just like, I'll let the offer do the selling, and we'll let technology deliver that offer. And what I want you to focus on is serving the people who come in the door extra nice. And even where you can't like completely 100% close it, like if you guys are doing trades and things like that, where, you know, every job's a little bit custom and quote, you can still like pre-sell. So say it's like a kitchen remodel, you can give them an idea of a price range of what to expect and how the process works and how the quoting thing works. And here's what an average kitchen will take. This is how it works. This is who it's good for. This is how much it's going to cost. Typically, if we want to get started, here's what that'll look like. You can like put all those things on, you know, some kind of technology, whether that's a website, a Google Doc, or a video, and drive people to that, so that by the time they contact the contractor, there's almost no more sale to make. So that's what we're starting to play with now, is like a client suck at closing. Let's use that to our advantage and make our offers sell. And then you're in a category all by yourself, because you're the only one who knows how to sell without needing the client to do anything other than fulfill. And then you start seeing your clients as more as like affiliates, or like you're their affiliate rather than they work for you, or they, you know, you work for them kind of thing. Because sometimes when clients like act like they own you, you can almost feel it. That's where I feel like, you know, I put my system in place and my system is kicking ass for you. They don't have the same sense of ownership and entitlement over you. Like, you can just be like, well, I can take my Google Doc and go home if you want. You can go back struggling to close freebies on the phone if that sounds more fun for you. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole, but it's just nice to have control in the relationships instead of feeling like you can just be fired at any time. Like, I'm not trying to intentionally be an asshole to any of our clients. The opposite. I think clients are like, especially the right ones, are super awesome. But it's nice to like kind of turn the tables on how those relationships normally go. in our first white label agency where we did like plastic surgery SEO, like at our peak, we probably had about 150 clients. And like I felt like they owned my soul. Like somebody said, hey, I need to talk to you about this. I didn't feel like I could say like, no. No, sorry, I don't feel like talking right now. As we're now, like all of that is just done through text. Even if they don't have that many questions, but you can be like, you know, yo, dude, what's up? You guys are troopers, by the way, for sticking with me 2.5 hours. Yeah. We should probably call it an end unless you guys, if you guys got anything else that you guys want to add, you can always just shoot me a message. I'm pretty much an open book. Like I'm not the, you know, you got to pay me for the 5-hour consult if you want the answer to that question. If I can help you and I got a tool or a resource, I'm happy to. Copywriting, but how is something like this for a PR? Attention business owners. I already tell you you're off the rails on sentence number 1 with attention business owners. It's too broad. Tired of losing business to bigger brands or companies and setting the low. So this is one of those things right here. I see what you're trying to do with the symptom, and it's a good first attempt. I just say don't guess at those. Let them tell you what their symptoms are like. And I probably, one thing that'll help you sell more PR is just get more focused on who you do the PR for. But the rest of it is good. We can help you get featured in Fox. I would say even those, getting featured in Fox as an outcome is still actually, believe it or not, a step on the journey. Like that's towards the end of the plane ride, like 3/4 of the way, but that's still plane ride. Because like, why do they want PR? Like they probably, you know, want it to make it easier to sell those things, like get rid of those tire kickers and have people just show up and say, hey, you're that guy from Fox News. Can I hire you as my attorney? Right. So the biggest thing that'll help you on that, like, well, 2 things is like get more hyper specific on like anytime it's like an attention business owners, I just think it's like too generic. Like if you can just get around your head, specificity prints cash. You can do this, by the way, for hundreds of business owners. Like I would just write different ads to them. But so the symptom, the outcome you're guessing at. But if you tighten those by just like this is more about parroting than it is about writing this section. It helps business get away from the price shopping customers and spend more time. So like if you can point to a specific like price shopping customer in a specific industry, like for example, I've done there's a guy I consult with in the car detailing space. You know, a lot of his clients say people call him up all day long and say, how much is it for a blah, blah, blah? And then they, as soon as they find out how much it is, they hang up the phone, they got to go do something else. Like I got to talk to my cousin, brother, uncle, former roommate, and they don't buy. And so if I was starting that, it would be about that. Like people call you up on the phone all day long and ask you how much it is, and then you never hear from them again. Well, we figured out how to get people who show up on the phone and say, you're the guy I heard about. How much is it for a blah, blah, blah? I'm ready to sign up right now. Do you have availability on Tuesday or whatever? And the way we figured out how to do that is using PR by making them hear about you first in the news, which makes you the expert and saves you a whole bunch of time of having to chase people and prospecting them because people are already watching the news. It allows you to be the best detailer in the country. You'll save a bunch of money on answering the phone and chasing people down and trying to convince people. It's way easier because people call you up on the phone ready to go. And you're going to look like the coolest detailer in your entire town because who else can say I've been on Fox and ABC? Almost always it's hard to like divorce yourself from the fact that you want to talk about your thing, which is, you know, PR in this case. PR is your plane ride, but like that's the least interesting thing part of it. But if you can make tire kickers disappear because they got, you know, local famous, that's like a totally different offer. Even though like the deliverable is exactly the same. You got it, bro. But yeah, I wouldn't try and talk to too many business owners at once. Like I might have one version for lawyers and one version for dentists and whatever. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Well, cool. Why don't we call it an end right there? And if, like I said, if you guys got anything else, you can always ask me later.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everything, Frankie.
Yeah.
Really
I'll make sure
appreciate
to
it.
get you guys a copy of this so that I'll get you the links for these, okay?
Yeah. You're in this. You're actually in the school group, so you can just put it
Okay.
like on the thing. Yeah.
I'll do that.
All righty.
Cool. Appreciate
right.
it, guys.
See you, everyone. Have a good one. Bye bye.